Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. This should be of particular importance if you drive an electric vehicle. Now, speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Ben White, Maximum Gravy, Austin Whitsitt, John Kays, Tommy Swagnuts, Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bosnail, Sampson, Maris, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Nealands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, the FlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show. Hey Righteous, can you hear us?
Yes.
Jolly good. You see I trimmed out our discussion from yesterday.
No, that was which one?
I called it Flat Earth Snowflakes.
Oh, okay, I saw that. I just haven't played it.
It's discussing you. So it's myself, Neil, and Righteous Force discussing your incessant need to post mainstream media into Skype feeds. So we're having a little moan about you.
Oh, lovely subject.
I take the Fifth Amendment.
That's okay. The fifth man can handle this, 10th could rest. So what's the incessant accusation about?
It wasn't that. That was just a kind of joke. It was more the discussion point of controlled release of information via the media. That was the actual discussion. And
oh, of course.
The reason I called it Flat Earth Snowflakes was because I was implying that Neil's got a need to be special and everyone else needs to know as he knows. So it was kind of aimed towards him, that title. I don't know if you realise that, Neil. You're the Flat Earth Snowflake in that context. Gone very quiet. Fair enough.
Yeah, we know. I'm a person who likes to know.
Shut up, Nathan.
I knew that was coming. Yeah, I've got people who, you know how they send you things, so then you send them things back, and then all of a sudden I get a response, "Hey, don't send me any more of that stuff. I'm not watching the news anymore." I said, "Good for you." And so then other people, "Hey, man, keep sending it. That stuff is great." And I said, "All right, but I still don't know where they stand." And then when you get to talk to them, you get to see how they are with these, news releases. And some people allow it to affect their daily life, their fear. Others just, tuck it away as, okay, so this is their game plan. So this is what they're doing. So it all depends how invested you are in it or not.
I got something on that. There's this comedian I listen to, Sebastian Maniscalco. And not just him, but a few celebrities, that I listen to on YouTube. They call it like a cleansing, where they will not go near any news or anything on whatever information is being put out there. They will not go on it. And for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then they come back and they say they feel great. Their mind is so much clearer. So people know.
there's
Well, some people know.
there's a lot of truth to that, or at least like I got a personal experience with that. Like normally I don't see the news or anything like that. Like the only time I would see it is if I would go like to a restaurant or like a sports bar or something, right? And I remember because I don't even go to those places regularly. And I remember one time recently when there was like a sports event, right? Like our basketball team was in the finals, and I would go there for like the final games. And that's when I was exposed to all this again, like the TV, the commercials, the news, the all that. And I noticed, oh my goodness, it's like there was like a pole there, right? And because I wasn't used to that anymore, I wasn't in that world anymore. When I was finally
When you say
introduced to that world again, there
when
was
you
this
say a
like
poll,
pole. It was like, go on.
when you
I'm
say a
just
poll,
saying,
what do you mean by poll?
like
Could
you're
be a
being
push.
pulled into that world again, right? It's like overpowering. That the programming is so overpowering.
Pull or
And even though I
poll?
was aware of it,
Do you say? Are you saying poll or pull?
Pull, Pull.
oh, PULL. But yeah, there's that, and you don't realize it when you're part of it all the time. But because I'm not part of it all the time, I pretty much ignore it all the time. And then I was introduced to it again. I could feel it like seep its claws into me like really fast and effective. And I'm like, wow, this is like it was a testament to how strong the media is. And I was like, wow, so this is what that is like. And
Can I ask you a question?
Wait.
Go on.
Righteous? Okay.
Yes.
Similar experiences when you leave the country and then come back. It's like seems a little foreign to you because you live somewhere else for a while. But when you watch these things, are you not aware that they're lying to you when you're watching it?
No, I was aware. And even though I was aware, I still noticed there was that pull. It's like the saying, tell a lie once, it's a lie, but tell it 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. So even though you're
Well,
aware
see,
of it,
that's
the more you keep putting that in you, the more it starts becoming real to you. It's weird. It's like really a bizarre thing. And this is where most
well,
people
that's
are
where I
at.
don't. That's where I don't track with you there. If I know they're lying, I'm not experiencing the pull. This is what I'm trying to figure out.
Hold on, because in
It,
Saturday Night
it,
Live, it's been a dead show, right? And
le-
this got a lot of things going on now, a big buzz about it. Because who says, Nathan, you always sell the sex cell and the death and all of that? Well, she performed live, totally naked, with a guitar blocking her, this Musgrove, this new country singer, and forget about it. The buzz was like off the charts for Saturday Night Live, a dying show. So there's a pull in that sense.
No,
can I
those are
answer?
naked.
Yeah, you're confusing the make the lie big, tell it often with subliminal messaging, Neil. There's two different things being discussed here.
Well, I can't understand what the pull is either if you know it's a lie. So I'm thinking, are the commercials when you watch
Well,
it, is there a pull there?
Well,
Or
we're trying to hear righteous tell us.
remember,
excuse me.
since you're a Christian, remember what Jesus said. I don't know if you guys can hear my scrambled eggs, but remember what Jesus said: take heed to what you hear.
Sorry,
Right?
which one?
You
Which
got to
one
be
did he say?
careful to what.
I'm confused. Did he say these are my scrambled eggs? Which is the quote?
Well,
Anyways,
that
he said take heed
conversation.
to what you. He said take heed to what you hear, meaning what we hear, what goes in us, becomes part of us. Right? Like if you watch horror movies, even though you
Well,
know
that's
it's
what
not
I'm
real
saying.
and stuff like that, that stuff.
Neil,
Hold on, let me finish.
you're rumpusing him.
Even though you watch horror
No,
It's
movies
not.
and like you know it's not real and it's all a show, the more you put that in you, the more like you're sowing fear and all that stuff in you, and it becomes part of you.
Amen.
You are what you eat.
right,
Is that what you're saying?
right. Except, oh,
Well, that
gosh,
same goes with the news and everything.
You are
When
what you
start
Not if
believing
consume.
the
you.
lies and stuff like that, then
You are what you consume. Is that what you're saying?
in a sense, yeah.
Yeah, but you guys are you're blurring everything here. If I already know they're lying to me, I'm not consuming it.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Don't kid yourself. Yeah, you are.
No. If I know someone is lying to me like the media has for years, like, for example, last night, I was watching the football game and the commercials come on. And that's the first place I know where they're going to lie. All right. Not so subtly either. And I'm yelling at the TV. And the reason I'm yelling at TV is because I spotted the lie. I go, now, when I say yelling, I mean like yelling. I say, oh, well, that's another one of those lies. Well, look at that. Well, there's
Yeah.
no basis to say that.
That's
So-
consuming it. You're kidding yourself.
No. No,
Correct.
that's being okay. Fine, you guys put your head in the ground. Don't pretend things are going. I mean, just pretend the world's nice and lovely if you want.
That's not
But
what
you-
we're saying.
Well,
We're
that's
saying
not
you
what
are
I'm saying.
consuming it.
Then that's not what I'm saying. So quit saying I'm consuming it.
You are.
No, I'm addressing it. I'm studying it. Well, you can't do that. I mean, you guys are a joke if you think you can't call an ace or a spade a spade.
Once you
Yeah,
come
but
back,
to know something, you got to consume it.
no, that's not what we're saying, right? You're okay. Let's say there's a restaurant that you don't
studying it.
like.
No, hang on. Can I be affected by it if I'm not careful? Yeah.
You are being.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. That's where I was going to lead
No,
to.
you're saying I am.
Yeah, you can't not be.
Yeah. So,
you can't not be.
No. Okay, so I'm having a conversation with someone that I know, and this is a true story. Several people actually, who don't at all do anything. They just hide. And so we'll be in a group, and a topic will come up, and they'll be quiet. And I'll say, "What do you have to say?" "Oh, I don't watch that stuff. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. I have nothing to say." And I say, "Well, they're eroding your rights, your freedoms. You have no concern for that."
How long to the show,
well-
Nathan?
Hold on. 25
Oh,
minutes.
gosh.
Go ahead. Ted.
Oh, that's all right then. Sweet Sam. Bye.
All right.
I didn't mean to put the whole
So-
convo.
so-
Carry on.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So that's the extreme of a person who doesn't care, doesn't listen, doesn't even want to talk about it. The other way could have an extreme as well, where it affects you. And I know people like that. They're always worried. They're always concerned. I go, stop being so worried. They're lying to you. They say, well, how can you listen to the stuff and not be affected? I go, easy. I know they're lying to me. I'm addressing the lies every time they lie to me. So I'm very cognitive as to what's being played on me.
Okay. Can I put the
Yeah,
other
but
side of
you're
that?
still consuming it, though.
Well, when you say consuming it to my harm or to my good?
Always to your
You
harm.
can hold on
Oh,
a second. You can
always.
consume pornography, and it'll never be to your good. You will be affected if you consume pornography.
Are we talking about pornography? Are we talking about heroin?
I'm making
Are we
an
talking-
example.
God. Let's segue away from porn. I tried to turn it into a restaurant. You try and turn it into pornography. What's on your mind?
I'm just saying, you can't watch that and not get affected by it. It's anything else. You can't watch something
Who said
and
I
not
was
be affected
watching
by
that?
it.
Who said I was? I'm not
All right,
talking
Neil.
about the news.
Neil,
Whatever.
Nathan's
news,
got
anything.
this, guys. I want to hear Nathan what he's got to say.
Excuse me, righteous.
Classic.
Okay. Right. You are consuming it because you're consuming it. Consuming it is viewing it. Regardless of your opinion, pro or con, you're still consuming it.
Well, from that description, I agree, but it's not consuming to my harm.
I disagree.
Okay, so when I study a topic like the ball, the globe, I'm consuming how they use the sextant in their manuals the wrong way. It's a paradox. They show it doing something it can't do all over the place with illustrations and paragraphs, etc. I'm consuming that. How come that ain't harming me?
That's actually a good example.
That's
Ted.
no, it's
Very
not.
good.
Because it's not comparable to mainstream media. That's not comparable. So no,
Why? Why?
because it's not being served up on a plate with a narrative attached and a game plan going forward for how the dissemination of the information will be released to you and everybody else in this instance. I try and compare it to the people that are coming up with these narratives. Cream rises to the top. Psychopaths are the cream of our society. I know people might hate hearing that psychopaths are the cream, meaning they're the best. Well, they are. They rise to the top. That is a fact. Well, how do they behave? Well, they're liars, aren't they? They're deceitful liars. Well, if you're dealing with somebody like that, i.e. a psychopath or narcissist, whatever your flavour, well, you can only really take one approach to absolve yourself of the pain that they will cause you. And that is what is described appropriately by many of the channels that cover narcissism: no contact ever again. That is to say, you remove yourself from the lies and deceit that that person is telling you. Now, I often parallel this with an example with NASA. So let's just take NASA, because they are very much akin to this. It is a comparison because they are mainstream and they are in the news. Well, if you look at NASA, you've got two options. Go and bang their walls, metaphorically speaking, by making YouTube videos, in regards to their deceit and lies. Or stop paying attention to the deceit and lies. Now, the latter is more akin, in my mind, to no contact ever again. Just disassociate yourself from that narcissistic entity, in this case, mainstream TV, and then avoid things that will allow you to be triangulated with that narcissistic piece of information in this regard. Now, I view you, don't take this badly, I'm not having too much of a pop, as somebody that's just trying to triangulate me with the narcissist's information. Yeah? So you've got it, you've got your con view, doesn't matter what the view is, it's not relevant, but you've got your negative view towards it in the respect that you don't agree. I'm going to call that negative regardless of if it makes you happy or sad. It's not the point. So you've got your negative view, and then you pass that narcissistic information, part of the controlled structure that we live within, to me when I've already disassociated myself from it. So by triangulation, you're involving me in that particular control structure, and I'm trying to remove myself from it. So when you're like saying you're not affected, this conversation is as a direct consequence of how much affected you are.
No, it's a consequence how much affected you are, and you could say stop putting that stuff on my distribution list, and I will.
No, I'm not going to demand you do anything. That's my choice. It was an interesting talking point, because in some instances, even though it's not something I like, that doesn't mean it's not a good discussion thing to have. So I'm not going to try and stop people from doing that. I'll moan about it, but in actuality, I don't want to stop you from doing it. You know, you be you.
I don't have a problem. I have people who say, listen, let's dialogue, but I don't want to have these news alerts. I said, no problem. And I stop. I don't worry about it. I already categorize that it affects them, so I won't send something that would affect them. For me, I'm an alpha. I'm ready for the battle that's coming. I need to know how the enemy thinks.
Sure.
It's not affecting me.
Sure, but when it comes to narcs, you're never going to win that battle. In fact, they feed off both negative and positive supply. Now, divide and rule fits nicely into this, because you can have two sides of an argument for a position that's being punted positively by the control structure, and you just sit into a nice little bracket in the con side. But each are equally valuable. They both work just as well. And
well, if someone wants to be clinical about it and sit on the side and watch an episode of history go by, say in real time, and then later talk about it, about the players on this side and the players on that side and the psychology and what they did, and well, go ahead. I'm in the real world at the real time, right now, the present, okay? And I've got enough history of seeing things firsthand without someone trying to say something else and presenting it, as something that's not. So I know the government lies. I know that the FBI lies. I know they all lie. I mean, they all lie. Churches lie. They're false pastors. They lie. So everything is like on alert for me. It's like, why are you telling me this? Where'd you hear it from? Why are you even saying it? Are you affected by it? It starts a great conversation for me.
fair enough.
There's one that drives me crazy, and I wish I knew what the truth was, and that's the Holocaust. Because you hear so much stuff about that, And I just throw my hands up. I say, I don't know what to freaking believe anymore.
All right, back to the subject. If it's not affecting a certain type of person and it's affecting another, I buy into that. And if that passing on information, even labeled, look at this lie, and then you show the lie, if that, even after being labeled a lie, still affects that person, something's wrong there.
My son was telling me yesterday, or was it the day before, that Anne Frank didn't even write her whole diary. Her father wrote the diary, or more than 3/4 of the diary. So here's another one. Like, you're holding on to that, like, wow, this girl was hiding. She was documenting it. And then you find out, is that even true?
I'm talking about now. I'm talking about stuff that we see every day or
I'm talking
part
about
of.
lies. I'm talking about lies in general.
Keep on the subject about the reality of what I'm doing and about current events. Are they lying to us about current events? I say yes.
Of course, because they lied in the past. That's my point.
Fine.
Lying back then, now they're lying. They're still lying. They never changed. The deceiver is still the deceiver. The God of this world is still in power.
Right, but not everything is a lie.
Hold on. That's a good word
Let's-
you've used there. Let me just interrupt. In power. Well, part of their power stems from what we're discussing, and it only has power if you let it. In other words, when I see your news feeds, I'm not trying to suppress what you want to put out there, because it becomes yours when you do it. Now, that might also trouble you, because you're like, no, I'm the messenger, I'm showing you this. You're like, yeah, but part of its magic is it being shown by any means to anybody at any stage that it's being punted. So, go ahead, whoever that was, Righteous, I think.
Oh, I cut you off. I gotta stop doing that. I just said right.
Come
and
on,
you're not
Righteous. I
supposed
want to
do
hear
that.
Nathan.
Yeah, sorry, Neil.
Yeah, and I'll come back. Now I've said it 2 or 3 times, but my general attitude towards this is if you figure out that somebody's a liar, don't reason with them. Don't stand behind them, shouting at everybody that walks past that they're a liar. Just disassociate yourself from that person. That's all you can do.
I want to let Righteous go, but with his permission, can I follow up on that?
Yes, you may.
Yeah. Does he have your permission, Righteous?
Well, I got to ask.
Go ahead, 10th.
Repeat what you just said.
When?
No, Nathan, not you.
I know.
And
Well,
then
then why are you talking?
my wife's grinding coffee. I didn't hear what you said. Sorry. Say again.
So can you repeat your last statement?
I can't remember what my last statement is.
Okay. It was something to the effect of calling out a liar.
Disassociation from liars once you figure out what they are. In this
Okay,
case,
that's
narcissists, psychopaths, the people controlling the show. Well, in that
Yeah.
particular category, there is only, in my opinion, one course of action, and that's to remove yourself from their presence, their lies, and all associated people who buy into, positive or negative, any of the aspects of the lies that they're trying to punt to you. There you go.
That's true.
Okay,
Because
so
even Jesus said, let the blind lead the blind. He said, stay out of it.
context, please, context. All right, the context here is I'm calling out the liars. And I have called out the liars for so many years of my life that people have thanked me for pointing out who the liars are in many instances, in many different contexts. So I take the more proactive approach. I get in their face and call them out. That helps my fellow man see what's happening to him.
I get it. You know, that it's not just the subject covered on this show that is useful for opening people's eyes to the deception that we live in. I get it. And you've got to educate yourself in all aspects of it if you're going to interact with Normieville. But for me, I'm like, maybe I'm just not strong enough for that. When I go out into Normieville, my interest isn't as the same as yours. in terms of wanting the people around me
Oh,
to
you just
know.
don't give a shit about the common man.
No, no, I was talking about my loved ones. You know, when I talk about the people being pushed off the top of the hill into anti-flat Earth misery, well, often I do consider that with my loved ones and go, "You're quite all right. Does it, will it benefit you to find out that you're being deceived in a mass scale when you are just a normie and you're quite happy being one?" Some people just don't benefit from it. When I say 99% of people haven't got the inclination to go out and do this research, I'm not demeaning those people, I don't know them, that you've just mentioned, but when you say, this is a lie, here's how it's a lie, I've researched it, and here's the in-depth details of how and why and where it's all a lie, and they go, thanks, and then they go about their day knowing that that's a lie. But do you convert them into somebody a similar inclination to yourself that is going to broaden their horizons and widen their eyes a little bit when they come across the next piece of information? Probably not, because of the pull, right? Righteous?
No. You're looking at every single case and saying it's all going to be the pull at the end that's going to win. Are you kidding me?
Well, let me ask Righteous, what was pulling you? Give me an example of when you were at that sports bar watching the basketball game. What was pulling you?
It was just the repetition of like the mainstream rhetoric, the mainstream way of life, the way the world operates. It was just like you surround yourself with the wrong crowd, that wrong crowd is going to influence you. Like even Jesus had to go away. Listen, let me finish. Even Jesus had to go away from everybody into the mountains. Neil. Even Jesus had to pull himself away from the mountain and recharge. Oh my goodness.
Forget it. I'm out. Do what you want.
Go ahead. What are you asking him to clarify?
I'm asking him to clarify. You talking about the TV or just the people around you? Just being in communion with other people. Is that what you're talking about? Or just what's
mainly the TV, because I was watching a sporting event and all the volumes are cranked up. Normally volumes aren't cranked up, but because it was like the finals, like the final 5 games of the Raptors game, it was all cranked up all around you. Of course, the atmosphere, the people watching it and participating in it is also part of it. But it starts from the TV, from the tube. That's where it starts from. Does that answer you?
Yes, so you're talking everything, commercials, everything that was going from that TV.
Yes.
There was a pull.
Yes.
I understand. Yes.
Yes, it was like, oh, I remember this life, and I don't know, it was really surreal, like, because I was seeing it happening before my eyes, and I was aware of it, and it was still happening, and I thought that was a bizarre relation. I was like, wow, this is something else. This is like spellcasting or something. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
That's it, because that's what that guy said. The guy Sebastian Maniscalco was like, my mind is so clear. I slept better. When I woke up, I felt invigorated because I haven't watched the news or anything in over 3 weeks.
Right. But you know what? His mind would have been just as clear and even more if he took the approach I'm taking, in my sincere opinion, by acknowledging that it's a lie to begin with.
Yeah, well, he's a normie.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just trying to tell you, he is a normal person, so he's not going to look at it like you do. I understand.
That's why his mind felt clear, because he was a victim. And then he stayed away from it for a while and he became better. And then when he was shown it again, he felt all those same symptoms. So it's like, no, that guy needs different help. That guy needs to understand what's happening and get a hold of reality and realize not everybody is speaking the truth. I mean, my favorite button on the remote is mute. It's the mute button.
Nope, he ran out and got the jab so he can go do his shows and be the celebrity that he is.
I can't keep up with your train of thought. I'm trying to talk to you about being alert, helping your fellow man by addressing the liars. Look, if we're all sitting at a round table with a bunch of our friends and someone says something that's a lie, who's going to speak up? I know I am. Immediately. You know who's not? Yeah, I'm waiting.
Trying to let you know the type of person the guy is. Keep up with
Whose
my
house
train
is
of
this?
thought.
Whose house is this?
What are you talking about?
This person that's lying. Are you in his house or is he in your house?
No, we could be at a house. We could be at a restaurant. It doesn't matter. I may have met him for the first time. This is just me. When I'm in a group and someone states a lie, I don't sit there and just let it slide by. I said, "What are you saying?" I mean, I just met you for the first time, but what was that you said? I mean, I'll be polite about it if it's a first meeting, but if I know the guy, I'll call him out.
All right, you said you know the guy. That's better.
Even if I don't know the guy, but he's a friend of my friend, and he spews out a lie right in front of me, I'll challenge it.
And there's to say, what's the lie and what's the truth? Depends on what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, listen, I've dealt with a lot of cults and cult members to write several books.
Oh yeah, that's the first I've heard you mention this.
Yeah, are you kidding? I've mentioned it before. I had lots of friends who were in the Mormon faith, Jehovah's Witness faith, Christian Science, you name it.
I've heard him say it too. He's had Kent has said that many times before.
Yeah,
He's
but
dealt
about
with
writing
people in
books about
cults.
it, I've never heard that.
No, I said the experiences I've had with people about this subject who were in cults and me talking to them. I mean, sometimes for months. The longest was 18 months.
What
We
cult?
met we met weekly, and they were sharing their view of the Bible. I was sharing what my view of the Bible was, and I'd say, let's see what the Word of God says about this. At the end of 18 months, he said, well, what you've shown us about our prophet is true, then we are in a cult. And
You're
I said, well,
Mormons.
I've used your material, so how can you deny the resources? They're all from your church. Have I misquoted anything? They said no. This is why we're having to end this, because we have to make a decision.
Mormons or Jehovah's? Which one was it?
That was Mormons. There were 2 Mormon missionaries, actually.
Yeah, Jehovah's, you nail it right in Isaiah chapter 12. You could nail it right there.
Hello, guys.
Well, I was with Joe's Witness guy in the basement of a church building in a heated debate in Massachusetts, actually, New England. And I came back to California. I get a call 5-6 years later from a friend. And he says, do you remember Jehovah's Witness guy that you were going over the scriptures with? And I go, well, which one? He says, well, I don't know which one, but let me tell you what's happened. I go, well, what's happened? He says, he was with you in the basement of the church. I go, well, that narrows it because mostly it's on the street. But yeah, okay, I do remember a few. And then he said, well, you shared that scripture in Revelation with him. And the Holy Spirit kept bothering him about that because Jesus claimed to be the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last, Almighty God. And they don't believe that, but that scripture haunted him. And he's now left. His whole family has become Christian, and 5 other families left with him.
Can you repeat what you just said about Jesus? He's the what?
First and last, Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. So the Word of God, the seed that was planted, we as workers in the field, plant and water, but it's God who gives the increase.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. This is of particular importance if you drive an electric vehicle. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by the Adam Meakin, Arwin, Crack Villain, 10th Man, Neil, did I miss anybody? And a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Morning, all.
Hey, good morning.
Afternoon.
How are you?
Yo, yo,
Hey, good
welcome,
afternoon.
guys.
All right, newbie.
All right.
Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No.
Black Swan.
We're going to need half of that.
They are going to need half of that, Adam, that's right.
Mm.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Gonna need half of that.
That's right, they are. They're going to need half of that. R value required. Any evidence of the distance to the Sun?
Probably gonna need half of that.
You either need R or Arwinian units. But
What about any scientific evidence of gravity? Wow, we're rattling through the housekeeping questions. We were also chatting in the pre-show.
Gravity, what's that?
Depends on which one you're referring to.
No, you're going to need R for that.
It's keeping you grounded on the earth, Crack. Don't you know that?
I just
You're
thought
gonna
there's
need-
an explanation for why there's an objective direction of down all the way across the face of a spherical ball created after the ball.
You're gonna need half of that.
What ball?
Let's
Not my
ask that.
balls.
Let's ask that. Any evidence of Earth radius, the R value?
You're going to need gravity for that.
there was somebody in the chat, Flat Earth School, I think it was last night, relating to, I think, Mr. Sensible, who is a reneger on debts, I'd just like to point out. Shame on you. That means your word's worth absolutely nothing now if you put a bet down and don't fess up. But they were chatting on this, saying they and this is quite funny, they'd use telescopes to look at the shadows on satellites from two different locations, and they got R to within 2%.
Sorry, explain this to me. I don't follow. How do you go from looking at shadows in the sky to an assumption that Earth is a sphere with a radius value to measure it in the first place?
After assuming the affirming the consequent, my interesting point to him was, yeah, you've done all that. So now that you've done this quasi piece of confusion with regards to shadows, which basically was Aristophanes upside down, wasn't it? Not sticks in the ground, but sticks in the air that you're looking at shadows on. But after he's done that and he's done all his calculations, he's made a great statement that it's within 2%. So the point I was asking was, is how did he know that his quasi calculations of nonsense are within 2% of what? What has he already done to define what R is, so that he can go away with all his assumptions and affirming consequence, go away, do this little thing, and say with a confidence interval of 2% that is within it. And that's when he disappeared. He refused to tell me where he got the R from to compare how accurate his new R value was.
Okay, so there's two problems. Number one, where'd you get the comparative R value that you're saying is within 2% of? And further to that, how did you come to the conclusion that you were measuring a spherical surface when you did your shadows in the sky? In other words, as Adam puts it, why are you affirming the consequent with this? Okay.
I think it's something like, if shadows on satellites, and the shadows are caused by the Earth's surface, apparently. I mean, that's yet to be proven. Yeah. It was that bad.
Earth's surface?
Yeah.
The same as they claim Earth shine when you get a really dark moon. They claim that the really dark bit, or something along those lines, that you can see, the dark circle. You know what I'm talking about, right? They say that's Earth shine.
I'm thinking, yesterday you was really annoyed me. I had to listen to the show yesterday. Yesterday you was talking about Terminator line. I think that's probably what they're talking about, that the shadow of the leading edge of the ball will create a Terminator line and therefore know the point where the sun is hitting it. And therefore, from those two calculations, they can work out they're not linearly placed and make the assumption that it's the shape of the surface that they're not measuring. That is the curve thing.
Well, there's the undoing then, because what you're saying is then you've got a geometric limitation based on R, formerly known as Earth curve. That would be a geometric physical limitation.
Yeah.
Well, they'll need R for that, won't they? I mean, this wraps around in and of itself. You already said they're affirming the consequent, so yes, absolutely correct. They're begging the question and affirming the consequent, and we're just pulling apart which bits they've inserted where.
Adam, did he, by chance, tell us how the sunlight was coming on those satellites?
Parallel or divergent?
He didn't go into that detail because he was just kind of begging me to please go and watch the second video, which details it. And I did say to him, I will go and watch it once you tell me where you got your R value from, so that you can state that your methodology is within 2%. So it's because otherwise you're just making stuff up. You're just affirming consequence. And where's the R for you to know you're only 2% out via this method?
And to give you a geometric limitation, and you're affirming the consequent, begging the question fallacy.
I could pretty much guess correctly that he assumed parallel sunlight, because if it's Eratosthenes the other way, you'd have to do the same. Because what they did was they assumed the bodies to be so far away that the sunlight must be, this is all assumption now, and they even admit it's an assumption. Okay, so they're so far away, they must be coming in parallel, so the shadows are caused by a curved surface. Except they're divergent, and the shadows are caused by the angle over a flat plane.
So isn't that irresponsible of them to assume that? Come on.
Just digest that for a minute. You want to kill the globe? You want to kill the ball? It's out every day. It's called the sun. Took some tremendous shots yesterday. We had a storm coming in again. And corpuscular rays were fantastic, emanating, as Adam said before, and I don't know if he wants to go over it again, but the photon leaving the sun is going in all directions. Their version is it's so far away that it's hitting Earth parallel, except the fact that when we look at it, it's so much closer that it's hitting the Earth with funny angles. It's divergent.
Do you think it's possible?
Hold on 1 second,
Go
Neil.
ahead.
So, Adam, these satellites, when you say satellites, are we talking assumptive lights in the sky, presumed to be
Well-
orbiting? Or are we talking... What are you talking?
I wouldn't, to be fair, so I can only make an assumption. I wouldn't let him get past the as I shouldn't. Yeah, I wasn't going to go into how he's then. I did actually say to him after the description, hello, we're on assumption overload here, aren't we? There's so many bits. So I kind of stuck to, let's just figure out how we get the R first. But I would assume they would be some form of man-made satellite that they're saying is up there in orbit for them to then perform these calculations based on.
So they're man-made, orbiting. That's a begging the question fallacy. Okay, that's a big problem. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container for there to be a sky vacuum for these satellites to be quote-unquote orbiting?
That's a negative.
I'd say we weren't contained, but then I couldn't say that because I wouldn't be breathing.
Yes, you'll need the air to move, to have some velocity from your vocal cords to move that air, to move the diaphragm on your mic. So expressing an answer pretty much sums up that we have containment. The sound you've made.
You're going to need air for that.
Yeah, you'll need air pressure to create that sound to answer me, won't you, Owen?
Indeed. There's no sound without a medium. It's the displacement of the air.
Do you mean no one can hear you scream in space?
Allegedly.
There is no space. If there was, then the gas we breathe would be filling it, and we'd all be dead. I'll rephrase that. The gas we breathe currently, presently, now, would have, past tense, filled the available volume. We would have already experienced the entropy increase. In other words, we'd have never developed gas pressure in the first place. The very first gas particle would have come out of the ground and dissipated into space immediately, never to return. And everyone that followed it would do the same. We'd never develop gas pressure if the sky was a vacuum. Because prior to there being any gas, the rock would be in direct contact with an empty space. So what's the gas going to do when it comes out? Well, it's going to travel at whatever rate and in whatever direction until it hits something. And if there's nothing to hit, that would be a barrier to keep it here, then it will just dissipate. That's entropy increase.
Can I ask a real clusterfuck of a question?
I've worked really hard not to swear in those statements. Not to
Sorry.
say the gas
No,
just...
there will be no swearing in there.
I was going to say the gas just fucks off into space. That's what it would do. But you've sworn now, so we've got about 6 more.
Sorry. What would gas do in proximity to a black hole? I think it would still expand to fill the outer space volume.
A black
Because
hole
of
is
the
a
power
mathematical...
of the volumetrics.
What are you talking about, black hole? Like it's something difficult to
I know.
affect gas. It's a mathematical description of something that's then later been associated with something they claim to be that mathematical description in the sky.
Yep. But I'm just saying, black hole, super strong sort of Newtonian gravity. It distorts time because of it. Things fall to it and then get hung into this time-based suspension and all weird sci-fi stuff. But I think that gas, when given the opportunity to escape from a container, is still just going to expand in all directions to fill the rest of the universe with its gas, despite the black hole being so powerful, right? Because the power of gas pressure expansion in the volume is as strong as the total available volume, which is insanely large.
Okay, I mean, I think it would be unaffected even in the maths because the descriptions that I understand would have things like spaghettification. You ever heard of that term? You go over the event horizon of a black hole, and because the time difference is so vast, what your feet are experiencing, if you go into the whole feet first, will be vastly different to what your head experience. Therefore, you get, in the maths, stretched, and they call that stretching spaghettification. Well, I have a relabeling for it. I mean, they call it spaghettification. I call it bollocks.
But I just mean that despite any distortions from extreme gravity, the gas is not really obstructed by that, right?
It's not bonded.
Exactly. So it's still just going to expand everywhere. And maybe it will be slowing down when it expands in the direction of the black hole singularity a little. But yeah, it's still just going to expand in all directions. There will be gas escaping from a black hole because nothing about the black hole can stop it from expanding in all directions. It's just this.
I love it. What he's basically done is taken a quantum eraser statement from a couple of years ago, which is, he put it to an opponent that you can have both Newtonian and Einsteinian gravity at 100% effect, and they will not in any way, shape, or form negate entropy. And Alwyn's taken that into the mathematical description, i.e., you can't overcome entropy with gravity. That's the statement. And then what Alwyn's done is then expanded it out into the actual descriptions of both, and mashed it into a nice little bullshit story. Brilliant.
Well, right. It's overlaid, I think, a little bit. There is a bit of theoretical physics in there, but I think the majority of the assumptions come from places like Doug Naylor, Arthur C. Clarke, Disney, of what these implications are. We have no idea. We can put some numbers together that might prove what somebody first made up in a science fiction tale. It's all assumptive numbers based on that an event horizon will be created that will get these things. And then the science fiction writers fill in the reality for the mathematicians to then try and computate. But none of it's based in reality, is it? It's all based in theory primarily, and then put some numbers around the theory of what might happen. But
right,
like you say, but this is the point you just said that QE says you can have Einstein whatever. None of that is affecting entropy, is it? None of that in there accounts for that. It just all works based on mass attracting mass in whichever way, but it's just bending the conceptual medium or mass attracting mass. That's how they're doing it. It doesn't have any consideration for entropy in the theoretical maths they use to justify the just so story. All works based on feedback.
Who's listening to the show while we're watching it? Arwyn.
Yeah? No, it was Crack Villain.
Oh, God, bloody newbies. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No, but I would never rob a bank with Arwyn.
It's just an interesting thing because it's said because of the conjunction between art and math that nothing can escape from a black hole. Apparently light can't even escape from it. But yeah, there's nothing really stopping gas from escaping from it. So that might give a whole new perspective on how it's supposed to be.
So nothing could escape from an equation. So nothing could escape from an equation in math.
Right. Indeed, 10th. We're talking about the crossover between gas behavior, that's stuff that we actually experience, and pseudo-Riemannian bending space-time. That would be Einsteinian gravity. Well, those two things are never going to intertwine. The equations that are describing something in pseudo-4 space, a dimension we don't experience, is irrelevant to gas behavior. We're just having a bit of fun. Or Arwyn is.
Well, can I add to this one as well? Again, when they try and talk about entropy, right, and how, for instance, gas could stop entropy, they forget about the various vectors, obviously, and obviously that was probably just covered. But again, how do you have a, equilibrious state on the upper layer of the atmosphere with the moon effectively skating along it or being within inside of it, being an entropy aided machine with all the other vectors of gravity? That's what QE effectively saying when he says, oh, I could give them all of the gravity they want, right? Entropy still will occur, but even on the flip side of that, okay, if we give you all the gravity you want, then okay, all of the celestial bodies still have their gravitational forces, and in conjunction to proximity, the moon, i.e., right, what would that do in terms of its orbital properties around this so-called spherical ball, it aiding entropy as it goes along due to its proximity to those gas molecules? They don't have anything. They have bubkiss.
Yeah, most of what they say stands in violation of the second law of thermodynamics in that regard. You're correct. But the orbital assumption that they'll bung in and have you justify along that path is what they really want, because then you can argue all day about that and just ignore the entropy issue that they have in terms of development of gas in the first instance. We wouldn't have gas developing in the first place. So let's argue about how our begging the question orbital mechanics and gravity work in pseudo-Riemannian force-based mathematics, because then we're so far removed from reality that no one's going to even notice. And I can provide the maths all day long. Beautiful.
I'll notice.
Yeah, we'll notice.
Yeah, we'll notice.
Right. So here's another one for you. So if gas is officially admitted to basically leak away, like, oh, it evaporates at the top of the air layers of sphere Earth. It's very weird when they address this. But officially, air does escape into outer space, right? Officially. So if that happens, that means that the gas expanding in all directions is kind of also going to give a bit of a push around, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it over time basically cause the moon to just gradually drift further and further away from Earth because of the gas escaping?
Hello.
Moving past it?
Hold on. You take their mild concession that it's the same point as ours. Oh, yeah, gas is filling the space, and then they'll give you a number of tons of gas, right? A weight. That's what they'll do. They'll quote a weight of how much gas is escaping. And you go, oh, yeah, why have you given it me in weight? Well, because in reality, what they're saying is, yeah, gas is obviously filling the space. It's escaping into space. Well, escaping from what? Because if that is true, all of the gas would follow behind. There's nothing stopping any of the other gas from escaping. Oh, yeah, but some of it does. Well, okay, where does this happen? Oh, it's when it goes beyond the Kármán line and just dissipates in space, we lose tons of it. Again, a weight they'll ascribe to it. You go, oh, yeah. So what about the gas that gets to the Kármán line and doesn't escape? What's it hit to go back? Oh, nothing. Well, it too would also follow that course into space and we'd all be dead. So don't fall for the, oh, well, they're conceding that it's escaping from what? They're not escaping gas would be there. That would be us all dead because the volume would be infinite. And that's how you calculate the gas pressure that we're experiencing. Oh, well, what will they tell you? Oh, we've got what we call a vacuum, 0.00017 psi, up at this altitude. And we call that a vacuum. All right, well, there's a vast difference between thin air and 10 to the minus 17 Torr vacuum, which is what they claim the sky vacuum is. Now, there's going to be
You're
a point...
forgetting one thing.
What am I forgetting?
Rebellious gas particles.
I was getting there. So, yeah, at the Kármán line, you've got the gas that's not following its vector. It's reached the Kármán line, but then decides to stop and chill, burn its bra in rebellion of the second law of thermodynamics, eat a load of pancakes, and then fall back down again with weight. No, that's not what gas does. The gas would just fill the volume. That's what gas does. It's called entropy. So we'd all be dead if the sky was a vacuum. Their mild concession that, oh yeah, loads of tonnage is filling the space each day. Oh yeah, well what about the stuff next to the stuff that flies off? It just decides to go back down without actually striking anything. No, it's gas. It has pressure. It's going to press on something. Or it's going to follow the vector it's in until it does.
Unless they could show us
I've
gas
heard them
behaving
say
any
that
other
gas
way.
particles run out of energy and slow down.
No, nothing reaches absolute zero at the Kármán line.
That's the main point. It's like, you know, they can't show us where this thing is pressing off of something, but they say it escapes, all convoluted, while saying that somehow it turns back in on itself to create an inward vector down here. No, you're already begging the question again. You're trying to get us off into the weeds. We notice your bullshit.
They're essentially saying gas go down, go boom, boom, crack villain. That's what you're summarising. Yeah, their argument. There's a homogeneous layer of gas that's pressing down on the gas below. gas go down, go boom boom. No, it doesn't. It follows
Can
whatever
both
vector it's
ways.
got. Go on, crack villain.
I'm just saying they can't have it both ways, that some of the gases are rebellious in nature, and those rebellious gases that slowly escape off into space somehow have the capability of doing so. But at the same time, there's these non-rebellious gases that effectively somehow implicate themselves into the way of pushing back down toward the Earth by the way of gravity, which again, no scientific any evidence for it. So how is it that you're creating this inward vector all the way across the face of a spherical ball in a 360-degree Earth that's in a 360-degree encapsulated vacuum? I would like to know. We notice what you're saying, guys. We're not silly.
Not Burger King. You can't have it your way with gas pressure. There's laws. Entropy is a law of nature. That's how gas behaves. Or just look at PV equals nRT. That's what gas will do. Well, where'd you get your V? Oh, we would just arbitrarily assign a certain amount of volume at the Kármán line. That's what they do. And then it, quote unquote, escapes. No.
Right,
There's a big box with gas in it. Yeah? It's not like in the middle of the box there's like a load of gas all clumped together. That's defying gas behaviour. It's not bonded. Not sticking to a ball earth in violation of natural law, with some of it deciding to follow natural law and some of it not, and going down, go boom boom to push on the stuff below. Total nonsense.
Well, they like to think of it as a giant spherical aquarium where there's just heavier gas sitting in there. And then when a little bit too much is created, assuming that they still assume it's created at ground level, that it kind of like spills over the edge of the aquarium. I think that is the backdrop idea that spawned the official claim that, yeah, gas does escape. Sometimes a little. Because of that, because it spills over the edge of the container, they assume.
Let's just read out Prof. Phil's comment. The gas that does escape has enough energy. The gas that does not... start that again. The gas that does not have enough energy can't go higher. Oh, so it gets to a certain point and just goes down, does it, Phil? Hasn't got enough energy, so it'd have to reach absolute zero then, Phil. Because if it's not striking anything, it's not a question of how much energy it's got. It's going to continue in whatever vector it's got. Not get to the Kármán line and decide, totally pooped. It doesn't reach absolute zero, Phil. You're a moron if you assume that certain gases run out of energy at the Kármán line. What kind of idiot are you? No, they don't run out of energy. That would mean reaching absolute zero and then falling down, go boom boom, burning their bras in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Call yourself a professor, you're an idiot.
Right, they're really unbonded, but through indoctrination, they've been convinced that they have weight after all, kind of like an original sin for gas.
Yeah, not only do they have weight, apparently they've eaten so many cakes that they run out of steam. Oh, so pooped. I'm just going to sit up here at the Kármán line. I haven't got enough energy, according to Prof. Phil.
Who's that radio?
Any
Sounds like,
evidence? Go on.
hang on.
Sen.
Sounds like Prop Phil ran out of gas with his statement there.
Oh, it's nonsense. It's got gas running out of energy when it reaches a certain arbitrary point in his sphere belief. And gas doesn't behave like that. You know, he doesn't understand how gas behaves. If you think some of it doesn't have enough energy to escape. Sorry, go ahead.
It's very similar.
Go ahead, whoever it was in Discord.
It's like saying that gas particles are like a ball. If you throw it up, that it's going to run out of energy and fall back down again.
Indeed. Through the medium of air. So a solid bonded bouncy ball, for example, more dense than the air that cannot suspend it because it's unbonded. It would run out of energy and fall back down, go boom boom, like Prof. Phil describes. Also, Thunderfoot Clown described, with a demonstration of solid bonded bouncy balls being poured into a fish tank to show gas go down, go boom boom. And in Phil's example, it goes up, in a vector, and then it reaches an arbitrary point and goes, I've run out of energy. Just too fat. I'm going to sit here at the Kármán line, burn my bra, eat cakes until I go down, go boom, boom. What a load of nonsense.
Yeah,
Nathan,
I
I'm hearing
want
you-
to see that demonstration now with the balls unbonded, and let's see what happens then.
Someone with an open mic, I'm hearing an echo of what you're saying. Someone's listening to a show with an open mic.
Dang, it's cracked.
Crack, you've got to close your
I'm
mic.
here.
So, Prof. Phil, feel free to join. If you want to explain yourself. Not absolute zero. Stop bullshitting yourself. What? Energy is proportional to temperature. Gets colder the higher you go. Oh, really? According to your bullshit model, you've got something that increases the temperature at the thermosphere. Correct me if I am wrong. The energy would be increasing, Phil. So, do you want to get on here and explain yourself? Regardless of whether it increases or decreases energy, unless that gas particle actually strikes something, it will continue in whatever vector it is travelling. Now, unless it reaches absolute zero, it's not going to stop. It will continue in whatever direction it's travelling. That's what gas does. Now, you're implying that it will run out of energy and go down, go boom, boom. Now, get your ass on here, Prof. Phil, and beg the question of gravity for me so I can spank your dumb ass in front of a live audience. Because gas doesn't go down, go boom, boom, because it runs out of energy. Proportional with temperature. It might slow down, but it will continue in that vector, Phil. And if you think otherwise, you need to explain yourself. I beg the question of gravity. Get your ass on here so we can highlight how you're going to beg the question for a live audience, Phil, rather than being a chat skank. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No, it's a myth.
You're gonna need that for that.
Or some molten iron.
That it? That concludes the housekeeping.
You're also gonna need R to beg the question of atmosphere.
There's a lot of similarities between the last conversation about gas and water, sea level. They're saying the water curves, and they're saying similar things about gas that are not true about gas. Notice how they have to change the actual element itself by assuming we live on a globe. By assuming everything, they have to change what reality is. And then when you break it down the way you did gas pressure, you do the same thing with sea level. I mean, my goodness, why do they call it sea level? If it's curved, why do they always has been referred to as sea curve? Why has it always been referred to as sea level? The nature of water, just like the nature of gas. But they have to change everything because they need to live on a ball.
Yeah, twisting your own reality to satisfy your religious faith. It's a sad, sad thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, all that mathematical equations about black holes must have happened at an Italian restaurant.
Why is that?
Well, we got spaghettification, then we got string theory, and then with time, you got the pasta and the present time.
So that Phil decided to beg the question from the chat rather than join as a live participant. No. Gas has mass, and when its weight is greater than its energy, it stops. Weight would be Prof. Phil begging the question of gravity. So weight, a downward vector then, Phil? So gas go down, go boom, boom with weight, right, Phil? It didn't take you long to beg the question, even as a chat skank. Pathetic.
Gas doesn't have mass. Only solids and liquids have it.
Is this the Phil that I taught him any method in which he could weigh helium, and I essentially said the same way you would, effectively weigh a fish with a hook, right? I said, why don't you just turn one of those upside down and attach a helium balloon to it? And he ran away and was like, oh my God, that's a really good idea, as if he was going to go and write a book, not really realizing the idiocracy that I'd just spoken to him. It's quite funny.
These people are in pain. It's good fun to poke them.
Definitely, because beforehand he was saying about, cooling the temperature of the gas down and then weighing it inside of a container, the helium, and it came out to, what was it? 4.4 grams per mole. Thanks. We asked for a volumeric, not a weight, by the way, Phil.
How much would you have to cool it down?
Oh, he couldn't tell us that part, Neil. Don't be silly.
Yeah, you're going to need a container though, eh?
Absolutely.
But yeah, my presentation of the simpler way of weighing the helium, which would be to just simply hook it onto a hook weight, the same you would a fish, and just turn it upside down. And I guess the pulling of the helium would be its weight, wouldn't it, Phil? Or would you just be weighing the air around it that's pushing it up?
Indeed.
The funny thing is, Nathan, though, is in the moment, he didn't understand that. He literally thanked me and was like, thank you very much. He said, that's a much more convenient way for me to weigh helium.
With a container.
With a container, indeed. I'm pretty sure that's recorded somewhere. It was in the arena, so I'm sure that will be somewhere recorded. Nice one for that, Phil. We should probably make a number clip out of that.
Necessarily means it's been recorded just because it's happened in the arena. Go ahead.
How does his mathematically? You see, that makes no sense from a vector point of view, because the convention of weight in their world requires a force to be applied in a particular direction. His force is going the other way to define his weight, which in a way shows that there isn't an additional overreaching force. It's all about relative density and displacement.
Dispersion.
Well, the balloon's going up because it's being displaced that way, because it's less dense. So you can calculate that. You can assign weight to it. But what you've actually got is a force that's being generated in a particular direction.
Yeah.
Now, the convention of weight requires the complete opposite of that and an overreaching force to cause it. We don't need it. We've just got downward pressure, density and buoyancy, which causes that vector that way in terms of the pressure. But when you do it with the balloon, with gravity being the cause of weight, it totally destroys their mathematics, doesn't it? Because the vector's the other way. And therefore, there is no overreaching force to define weight in this way.
Correct. Even if they beg the question of gravity, It doesn't work in the convention. Correct, Adam. But they still beg the question, though, as Phil ably demonstrated.
I just find it amazing he doesn't notice these things, considering he's a professor.
Let's just use it because it's a part of the vernacular. So adding in weight doesn't necessarily mean he's in the moment computed that he's begging the question of gravity. Now, I've highlighted that for him, and now he knows if he's listened. Probably not. But that is what they do. You know, the same applies to the atmosphere when we had Bob on. So it's like, where'd you get the R for the atmosphere? Sphere-shaped air. No, that's just the air around us. No, you described it as sphere-shaped air. No, that's just the word we use. In other words, well, because it's commonly known as sphere-shaped air, it's perfectly okay for me to just assume it. And because I've got an arbitrary downward vector with gravity, it's perfectly okay to assume it. So they don't necessarily compute that they've even done it until someone like me comes along and says, hello, you're just begging the question when you say weight. Because you're going to have gas going down, go boom boom with that weight, aren't you? When it's going in the opposite direction. It's defying the very convention you're using to classify it as going down, go boom boom, because it's not. Share your pain in the chat, fundies. I know this is difficult for you all. Shout out to Witsit Gets It as well. He said hi from the chat. Hello, Witsit. Good to have you.
Yes,
Nathan,
Witsit,
that might be a good new housekeeping question. Any evidence for atmosphere?
That's part of R. Sphere-shaped air is just a sidestep removed from an assumption of a sphere in the first instance with an R value. So any evidence of R covers that. I know it's quite weird because we've already got half a dozen other questions that can be answered with the preceding question, right? Any evidence of R, you can answer all those questions pretty much with that. But adding in atmosphere, sphere-shaped air, yeah, sphere-shaped air, isn't it? It needs R.
Everything in the model needs R.
Yeah, same with V. If they're going to calculate the volume of the gas pressure that they're saying isn't escaping in violation of the second law of thermodynamics, they're going to take their R value base sphere Earth and then an arbitrary line from there to the Kármán line to calculate the volume. That's where they get their volume if they're ever going to give you any sort of meaningful calculation. They've got to assume containment at a certain point to get a volume. Otherwise, what is the actual volume? Well, in their rhetoric, the actual volume is the entirety of space.
And see, that's sort of where it gets ridiculous for me, is the idea that all of the atmosphere and these gases are moving and spinning with the Earth. That's where it's just unimaginable for me. I can't fathom that.
And not only that, they need this magical force to bend the flatness of the water. So level is not level anymore, it's a bendy level. So need R for all of these things.
You'll find the term is bendizontal. Copyright Bev Try Thinking.
Did you say bendy level?
Bendizontal. Copyright Bev Try Thinking.
Bendizontal. That could be added to the contradictory.
Oh, it's part of the lexicon already. Bendizontal, for sure.
Oh, okay. We're genuinely saying about creating a contradictory, where it's just like all the work, like just everything contradictory, just everything they throw at us is contradictory. Just a great book of contradictory terms coming out of the mouths of all the pseudoscientists would be brilliant. A brilliant reference piece. We could cite it and source it, chapter and verse, much like a Bible. Here we go, guys. It's chapter 1, verse 36 of, guess what? Again, gases go boom, boom, down, down. What?
Splash.
It just seems it would be quite nice and clean, as a way of, finding the contradictory terms. Just to, like, chapter and verse. We're religious zealots, as they say. So, again, let's have religious zealotry toward the directive of describing and defining their pseudoscience. Here you go, guys.
Phil from the chat spamming me constantly. If you want to talk to Crack Villain, just join and ask him your question.
Phil who?
Phil Bell wants to ask you something. I'm not going to repeat his question to you because I'll get into the wrangle-dangle on his behalf as he reverses the burden of proof.
Phil, if you want to ask me a question, DM me on Discord. I'm not going to address you until you either come in here with your voice. Okay?
Yeah, come on the show. We'll be nice.
I promise you, it will be nice.
Well, I'll be nice if he's talking to Crack Villain. If he's talking to me, that depends on how he's behaving now, doesn't it?
My mic might break as soon as he comes in, so that he has to talk to you, Nathan. Sorry.
Sure, it'll be all right. If he's keen to get that burden of proof reversal fallacy aired, I'm sure he'll join. I would be very surprised if the chat skank is anything more than a chat skank. throw out a burden of proof reversal fallacy and hope one of the panel, i.e. you, will buy.
Burden of proof reversal. Yeah, I'm going to bite for that. Not.
So, the positive assertion is that the sky is a vacuum, outer space, space travel, Mars, rock in the sky, moon, rock in the sky. Apparently we're visiting these places because we can travel through a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum. 10 to the minus 17 torr ever-expanding volume of space for the gas we breathe to fill, and fill it would. Now that is the crazy, extraordinary claim, and we're not making it.
Nathan,
not
can you
our
verify
claim.
what we are doing? We're not making a claim. What are we doing?
Destroying the claim that the sky is a vacuum. We're debunking outer space. That's what we're doing, Neil. We're debunking the positive claim that the sky is a vacuum.
Thank you.
I like this idea that they would like to assert that it's. So wait, he's asserting that's our claim? Wait.
Yeah, they don't like that. It's much, much more preferable that you're making an assertion about a dome. And then they can ask you all about that. And then in false dichotomy, they can say that their assertions based on their mathematics just works out much better than your claim of a dome that we've never been to. So they turn it into your claim, and then hold up your claim in false dichotomy with their claim. And that's how it rolls. Much better that you're holding up a positive claim rather than saying, you what? Travel into the moon? How do we get there? Through a vacuum? No, we'd all be dead. There's this thing called dispersion of gas. It's a law of nature, second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills volume. That's what it does. So, if that sky you say is a vast volume between us and that claimed to be rock called the moon, well, then we'd all be dead. So definitely not. What a load of codswallop. What's that you say? How do I explain why 99% of the gases are below 30k? I don't make any claims about this. But you say it's a vacuum, don't you? You think you can travel to Mars, don't you? You're telling us that rockets are going into this region called a vacuum at 10 to the minus 17 torr. No, they're not. That's absurd. Don't ask me what the sky is. I don't really care. I know it's not a vacuum. Shout out to Ben White, who says, here you go, have a few bucks. Well, thank you very much indeed. I will. Thank you for your super chat. I'll even put it on screen. Killed the conversation, Ben, with your super chat.
Well, the new thing, well, not the new thing, but they are saying that we made up natural law. There's no such thing.
Okay. That's an excellent rebuttal.
Well, there is a legal definition, right? And that's different.
Legal definition of what?
Natural law.
Okay. When we talk about natural law, we're talking about descriptions of things that occur always. They're just descriptions, but they're descriptions of things that occur always.
Yeah, he's talking about legal law.
Well, that can change on a whim, right? Just because it's got the word law in it doesn't mean we're talking legally. Law as in more. Well, I was going to say Judge Dredd. I am the law. But in certain instances, he's not. So that wasn't a great example. But we're talking about descriptions of things that occur always. Just as simple as that. And in this case, dispersion of gas. That's an entropic effect. Gas disperses to fill the volume. There are no exceptions.
Well, isn't that why we call it natural law? Because it happens over and over again?
It's somebody's description of something that occurs always.
Otherwise known as just truth, right?
Not proof, it's
So
a
then they
description.
got it.
Proving what? No, just a description. Doesn't prove
So then
anything
they
if
have
I
to
describe something
demonstrate it.
accurately. A law is just an accurate description of something that occurs always. I've said that about 3 times. So it's not proof of anything. Not proving anything.
Oh, I
You
didn't say
describe our
proof.
entropy
I
effect.
said truth with a T.
Yeah, well, truth. Well, no, it's a description. Now, it can either be accurate or it isn't. If you drop a blob of paint in some water, yeah, that affects the dispersion of that blob of ink through the water. That's an entropic effect. Now, your description of how that occurs would be the second law of thermodynamics description of that entropic dispersion into the water. Now, that is something that's just going to occur always.
Yeah, high pressure to low pressure, hot to cold.
Well, that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. Then they have to demonstrate it doing something else then.
High pressure will always flow to low pressure. Hot will always flow to cold. Those things are described in the second law of thermodynamics as things that occur always, i.e. a law of nature. You don't leave your coffee cup on the side, come back and find that it's suddenly boiling over because it's got hotter. That doesn't happen.
It's all proportional to time, isn't it?
Better read out my super chat.
Send a super chat. Sorry, it's because I keep leaving it on the last person I've read. Crack Villain says, absolutely nothing. Just gives me money. Thank you very much, Crack Villain. I'm so glad
But
I added
also
you to the panel
says,
as you're paying
Thank
me.
you. Thank
very
you,
much.
Phil, for being a little gob shite. That's just what I heard afterwards. It didn't give me the option to do so. But thanks for that, Phil. You did exactly. You made me do what you didn't want me to do, which is further the cause.
I should thank Phil then for triggering one of my panel members enough to pay me to get a super chat,
Yes.
which
Yes.
didn't come through because the words were too rude.
No, I read them afterwards and then spaced them out a little bit, so he got the message. You little shite.
Don't know if he did. I think that's probably why when I see a super chat with absolutely nothing on it, what they've written is either too rude to come through. I'm glad this has happened. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way.
Wasn't for you, it was for Phil.
Phil's not getting it. Aha, Phil. If it was for you, I'm keeping it.
I really didn't realise. I thought that would go to Phil for some reason. I don't know why. Unlucky, Phil.
Very confusing.
No, I did know it was for you, Nathan. Don't worry. Don't worry, I'm not that silly.
So there we go there then. Heated discussions happened in the pre-show. So 10th Man got told about the show that will come out on the Nathan Oakley channel. If you're not already subscribed to my second channel, even when there's a break, which there was last week, I will still schedule the Uncut and After shows to come out as new premieres on the second channel. That is to say, the order of events is actually, it obviously goes out live like it is now, but then the members get the pre and after show together with the live show immediately after it. As soon as I can get it uploaded, the members get it. So become a member if you want it immediately. However, the following day, with the exception of the weekends where I stagger them, you get the show before. So tonight, if you're watching this live, will be yesterday's 1502 show with the pre and after show on my second channel. And that is always the case, even if I space them out and do extra shows that are repeats. If they go out on the main channel, they won't be that show. It'll always go out on the second channel. So it's well worth subscribing, because it's a bit like late members, if you like. If you subscribe to the second channel, you'll still get that Uncut and After show just a day later than the members do. But you don't if you're only subscribed to the main channel, because this isn't typically where I do them. I do occasionally on the weekend, but aside from that, that's where you'll get brand new Uncut and After show. So the reason I've told you all that is because in today's show, we caught up with 10th Man about a discussion regarding the distribution of information and the controlled narratives and the controlled structures that we live in, and how poisoned I believe us to be by just exposing ourselves to some of the lies that come from the mainstream narratives. Now, we discussed it, and I even trimmed it out and called it Flat Earth Snowflakes. So check out that video if you want to preempt the show tonight. But if you tune in at 10 p.m. UK time, I'll ask Adam about this actually in regards to Mitch. Has he changed his time an hour earlier?
They're doing that time traveling thing again, aren't they? So they've got some daylight savings because they've gone into their full summer now, haven't they? So until I think America catches up, there's going to be a clash thingy. So I think it's going to be 8 o'clock until we put our clocks back, Nathan.
That's fine. So I'll stick with the same schedule. So I changed. Originally it was 9 p.m. UK, and then Mitchell just started running at 9 p.m. UK, but that's because it's crack of dawn to catch the sunrise, which makes perfect sense. So he's not going to care about my schedule. So I just rescheduled to 10. Now that his clocks have gone back, it makes no clash. So there's just a 2-hour gap between he and I now. So that's fine. I'll leave it exactly as it is. So it's 10 p.m. UK tonight. Bearing in mind it's, 5 to 3 now. Will be the show that preempts the discussion that we had on the pre-show this morning with 10th Man. It all got very heated. But there we go. Check it out. That'll be out tomorrow on my second channel. Subscribe today. Links in the info box.
On that, I've seen a thumbnail and a bit of chat somewhere. So I think tonight, Flat Earth School's coming from QE Live as well. So I think there might be a two in one.
Oh, wow. That would be cool.
I think that's what I've seen on the thumbnail.
Really?
Double check, but I'm sure. Because it was going on, there was the clash last night, and he's going, right. So Mitchell asks, what time is QE Live tomorrow? And I just said 8 o'clock, which is, yeah, there you go, look. Join me on the Quantum Eraser channel. So Flat Earth School tonight live on the Quantum Eraser channel. So that'll be 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. US.
Okay, so 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. US, be here or be sphere for Flat Earth School / Quantum Eraser Live with Mitchell from Australia and Quantum Eraser. And I assume he'll be multicasting it, so I assume Mitchell will be streaming Flat Earth School whilst on the panel, and QE will be streaming Flat Earth, what does he call it? QE Live, my bad, on his channel. So check those out. That should be interesting. I'll definitely be in the live chat watching that. Good stuff. Any other plugs?
I'd like to thank you for my plug yesterday.
What is the world? Check it out. Adam Meakin's channel. Be here or be sphere.
Yeah. Just so you're aware, so I have changed it. The text spelling. So it's all lowercase. What ? Is the world?
Okie dokie. Good stuff. With that, though, I am going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you first and foremost to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Stream, subscribe today, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
As long as you don't make me an asshole.
Again.
Shut up, Craig.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. You're like walking into stuff like boom, boom. You're just walking into those gas molecules that go down, down, boom, boom. They're so prevalent. I'm not surprised.
I
It's
was just
obvious.
gonna say, I can refute entropy right now, because Nathan said it flows from hot to cold always. That argument stood hot and it never went to cold. So there you go. Heated discussion this morning, stood hot.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
That was freaking clever at my part.
Somebody knocked on my door, Neil. Somebody knocked on my door, dude.
Mumbling. Crack villain.
I'm mumbling.
Someone's knocked on his door. IRS, pay your taxes.
Why does it make
Am I
such
not
a...
coming through clear?
What's the click noise when you take yourself on and off mute?
It's because I started using my local mute, because every single time I use the mute on here, on the Google Meet, right, for some reason, it comes off automatically. Hence the newbie thing that kept occurring. And I don't know what it is that's causing it to do that.
Check in the settings.
So
Yeah, I'm sure there's a setting in Meet.
I think it's as soon as it picks up my voice, it's like this box comes up. Do you wish to, speak? So click if you do. So I obviously click somewhere, and then nothing to do with the show, and then it unmutes me. So I've turned the setting off, never to ask ever again.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I won't ask again. When I say hear it. Click, click, click. That.
There you go.
Yeah,
That thing? Right, I won't ever do it again then.
Yeah, it should work. Local mute on G+. Anyway, sorry to kill the mood with admin.
Is he coming out with a new show, that Darth guy?
I don't know, we keep talking about Darth and Globe Earth Dictate, but I don't know if he's actually going to come out with anything. I have no idea.
So wait a
Talking
minute.
to Adam.
I don't know, but I mean, all we can do is put a play out, please, will you? Because otherwise, Neil's just not going to stop until he gets just a quick clip.
Darth? Which Darth?
It's the parody show. So he does I think he's done 2 now, hasn't he, Nath?
I think he's done 3, but it's DATRH, so Darth, and he is spinning off, deep inside the rabbit hole.
Wait a second, Crack don't know about this? Oh.
I don't know how interested I really am. You can send it to me in Skype, Neil. Send it to me in Skype. Actually,
The parody of the show, that's what it is. And Neil wants to be parodied.
so it's a parody of this show.
Yes. The Globe
Neil wishes
version. So imagine a universe where
Oh my days.
everybody appreciated that the world was flat, and this show was actually us converting people to the globe. So therefore all of the people on the show are taking a globe stance and a globe position, but everything in normal society is actually taken to an extreme and given a little bit of a Big Brother spin to make it more obvious that it's being taken to an extreme. However, although taken to an extreme, the subjects that he covers at the extreme are actually mainstream current topics, which is why I think he's a genius. Because the last time I remember that happening was with things like Yes Minister, where they had the writers incorporate current events into the script, and that's precisely what he does. But because a lot of the stuff that he would be covering in parody of us is actually stuff you can't talk about on YouTube, but because he's done it in parody and taken it to the extreme, he gets away with it. Very, very clever.
You absolute gangster, sir. You absolute gangster, sir.
Globe Earth dictate, as opposed to flat Earth debate.
Oh, I love it. I love it already.
And Nathan's name is Ethan Woodley.
Are we still? We're still live, right?
No.
We're not.
Well, we're still recording, but we're not live.
Well, it's the after show, right?
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Flatter Day Saints. Everyone, give him a little watch. Little up and comer. He's a little rapper, but you know that's why I waited for the after show. Otherwise known as the Flat Nasty.
Did you want to do a proper shout out for him? Channel name, etc.
His channel name is exactly that, Flatter Day Saints. You can find him on YouTube. And yeah, that's the only place that I know him to be. 1 second, I'll make sure and check that is his channel name, but I'm pretty sure it is Flatter Day Saints, like a play on words of Latter Day Saints.
Cool. Subscribe today.
Also, another up and comer is Chemtrail, spelled a little bit differently, as in, you know, well, it's Chemtrail, but it's like not TRAIL. It's trail as in TRY. TRY. I already told him it would be confusing.
Bloody hell, you're getting paid for this?
I did say shout outs if you want to, so fair enough.
Well, it was just recently, Flatter Day Saints recently met up with Whitsit on the tour with Whitsit, and he did a little impromptu thing with him. So that's why I give him a shout out, you know, to give him the momentum as of this time, right? You know, he's getting the message out there about all of those things that we hate, and he's pretty on message. So, you know, it's all toward the waking up effect, if those that can be woken can even be woken.
Quiet, huh?
I'm going to use my local mute for a moment, if that's all right, with a clicking sound, so that I'm quicker to unmute. Nathan.
Oh, it makes horrible sound. Just use the one in G+. Oh, God. Please, can you not use that clicky sounding horrible sound so that every time you talk, you're interrupting anybody that's speaking by clicking through them with your mic? Please. Just use the one in G+, which makes absolutely no noise whatsoever and lets me know that you're on mute.
No worries.
Thank you.
Nath prides himself on his sound quality, mate. He goes to shitloads of effort. So for you to come in and go, because I want to talk now, do you mind if I wreck it? It's not going to go down well.
I didn't realize it would make that much of a noise, to be honest. I thought he said local mute should be okay, and then I was like, wait, because yeah, I get it now. Right. Sorry.
It's really annoying if you do that all the time.
Yeah. If you decide that you want to say something and then someone's mid-sentence, you're like, well, I won't interrupt them, I'll just open my mute button. And that immediately, mid-sentence, puts through whatever they're saying. Obviously, that's no good, is it?
I didn't know it was doing that. I'm extremely sorry. Now I do. It won't happen, like I said again. Yeah.
Right, don't worry. It's all good.
I still think we should say over when we're done with a sentence.
Got it gated beautifully. You don't need to.
Kidding.
So Professor Phil wrote in the comments he would come in and speak, but yet to be seen.
In here. I don't know what his name would be in Discord. You in here, Phil? Well, clearly not. No, I don't think he has. And who can blame him? He went through his argument in chat. That's what Wiggles used to do. He used to amaze me. So I'd sit in somebody's chat stream with him, arguing back and forth, and he'd lay out every aspect of his argument to me in chat. And I'd overcome it all in chat. And then he'd join the show and go through the same exact process. You're like, but you've basically given me a dry run. Why would you give me a dry run in a chat and then come in and try and argue the same thing? Oh, because at the end of the chat back and forth, Wiggles would have been chanting and fundy muting in chat. You know, when they do say the same thing, go through the same argument, do-si-do, circle jerk. Well, because they've done that at the end of the process, they think, oh, well, I've won. You're like, no, it came to the conclusion that you lost, and then you just restarted the argument again in chat. And because they didn't concede... Go on.
I was going to say, when I first started watching...
Yeah.
Go, Neil, go.
Go ahead. When I first started watching the show, I thought it was scripted with that guy Wiggles. I was like, this guy cannot be this dumb.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It almost is, because he's gone through his arguments in a chat. I've responded to every single argument, and when the arguments come to a conclusion, he's then repeated the argument again. In other words, not admitted defeat. But in some way, obviously, I can only deduce this from his actions, he thinks that, well, because I've been ignoring the rebuttal and reasserting the argument again, because it couldn't possibly have been defeated, I'm in the right, I'm in the majority. In other words, they block out the rebuttal. Then they come here and state it verbally, and you're like, well, it seems scripted. Well, yeah, he's gone through it, he's typed it all out for me, proactively in a chat, and I've responded, I've reacted to it, so I'm reactionary in the chat, and then he comes in and goes through the exact same thing again. It's like, whatever made you think that if you did it verbally, when it got to the point that you started circle jerking and chanting, that was going to actually win you the point like you deluded yourself it did in the chat stream? It's just the exact same thing, but verbal. I do actually think that's how they process it. You defeat their argument and they go, you can't have defeated my argument because this is the mainstream argument. How could you possibly have defeated it? I'm just going to tell you again. You obviously didn't understand.
Like, Einstein was just a normal person like anybody else, and they always demonize Nathan. They say to me, like, oh, Nathan Oakley, you're just repeating what Nathan Oakley said, but it's like, I don't care who the argument came from. I'm just interested in the argument. I do think the actual argument itself holds a lot of water, regardless if it comes from someone you don't like. It could come from Jesus, or it could come from the person around the corner. It could come from Nathan or Einstein. They were just normal people like everyone else. They were just people thinking with what current understanding that they had given to them, passed down. We're all scripting and scraping with the knowledge that we have. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't been answered by science, like how you managed to get pyramids built. No one has even answered that. Like, there's loads of elephants in the room that ain't been addressed by your current science that's supposedly 100% accurate. The Earth's a globe, elements of Mars or whatever.
Been keeping up with your TikTok posts. So I don't watch TikTok, but you've been reposting them on YouTube. So in one of them, I've got a question, right? So in one of them, you're calling out some dude that's obviously giving you grief by comments or whatever. I don't care. But you're at the doors of the NEC having to go to this guy to meet you, right? And then at the NEC, in front of an absolute shed ton of security guards, you're like, top of your lungs, calling this guy out whilst filming yourself, holding the camera, right? So I'm watching this thinking, he's like full on alpha male, effectively, or metaphorically, slapping your chest, going, come on, to a guy down the phone with security guards all around you. Then it cuts, and then you're outside. I'm like, has he just been told, hello, you need to chill the fuck out? Because you're a monster of a man. I mean, you're next to these security guards, and you're clearly much bigger than all of them. And you're like, this guy's getting really rowdy right in front of a load of security guards, calling a guy out whilst filming himself. Is he going to get arrested? And then the next shot is you outside, speaking calmly. I'm like,
I tried to do it live, Nathan. I tried to connect this live, but the internet's so bad out there by the airport that I couldn't get any signal. So like, I just had to record myself, which was not part of my plan. And then like there was loads of people outside, and there was all kind of gathering out. And I think they probably heard from me that I was coming because it was about an hour's notice I'd given him. And he previously tried to get me to meet him in Manning's gym and spar me, like because further back about 3 months ago, the next British Mike Tyson, who's frees him at Bones. He looked for an opponent for Wicked and Bad, and he's a bit of a bully because he thought no one was out there.
Yeah,
he was
is.
all feared.
He is.
I called him out and I said I'll fight him, and that was 3 months ago. And obviously he then rejected the fight when he looked at me, and then he obviously popped up to out of the blue, and I tried to ask me to spar for 5 rounds for free. So obviously I took that as him trying to like take weakness, because when he had a chance to fight me, he didn't agree. But then he's obviously trying to show everyone that he ain't scared of me because he's trying to show up out of the blue. So, I said, at least this is enough. I'm going to go down and see him. Do you know what I mean? So I went down to the NEC, and I was going to go and have a court talk with him and tell him that he's not nothing like Mike Tyson, and stop mimicking him, stop acting, trying to look like him, because you're nothing like him. The only reason that you when people look at you and they get intimidated is because they think when they see Mike Tyson, it's because they're intimidated. But when they do it when it's you, it's not because you're intimidating. All right, it's because of other reasons.
No.
And basically, he didn't like that what I said.
Yeah, called him right.
So, but he didn't like that.
We know the fakers are.
He wants to fight me, so obviously we can fight. But he wants, obviously it's a big fight. It's an interesting fight. He can seriously hurt people. He's got big, strong arms. He's an athlete. He hangs around with all the top professionals. I mean, even Josh Kelly, who's like who fought for a European title, who's a very formidable Olympian, who's one of the most gifted stars that come out of nowhere. And he talks to me, and he thinks I'm a lovely guy, and he thinks he's a lovely guy. And I've told him that, he is a nice guy, but he's still somebody in his opponent, and like we can't just keep walking around, pretending to eat plantain and pretending to be the next Mike Tyson. And when somebody says "let's go back to you let's go and hide," because that's what I was saying, Nathan. Outside, I was going, "Let's go hide, let's go and hide," because he always says, "Let's go." So I'll just put hide at the end of it. Let's go and hide.
Right, that's what you were shouting in front of the security guards. Presumably, though, if you actually did properly fight him, you'd have to drop some weight, though, right?
Well, he last time I checked, he's a bit of a bodybuilder, and he was about 14 stone. Now I'm gonna get down to 13 stone. I'm glad whatever they want to. But they can't even get to that conversation, Nathan, because when it comes to a fair fight, we both prepare for each other. Right? He doesn't want no part of it. But these bullies, right, will try and like come out of nowhere and try to like act the big man because they've got a bigger platform. And at the end of the day, I've only got like 8,000 on my account, but my account's been banned because obviously I'm ruthless on the internet. I've been threatening to beat everybody up. I've been threatening to harm everybody. Like I've been very aggressive on the internet to get myself a fight because obviously I want to fucking fight, man. Sorry, go on.
You misunderstood what I meant. I just meant you're a bit fat.
I'm in good shape now. If you look at my recent pictures, I'm actually really toned. I'm just
joking, right?
Just
calling you fat is ironic. It's like calling somebody very tall shorty. You haven't got an ounce of fat on you. I've seen what you look like. Yeah, you're not fat.
Yeah, but in the boxing world, when you haven't like dropped like let's say 8 pounds, right, Nathan? Like you can look like when you're off season, like you could be classed as fat, and like people like in the gym that we will call each other fat. Won't we, Riven? Like we will say you're fat, like even if you're just like.
No, mate. I didn't think he was on that level.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nathan's a difficult one. I ain't really got Nathan out yet because he's just the military. I've only seen the evil side of him, but I don't want to get there. I don't want to let side of
Back to this guy. I mean, this guy's saying he's like Tyson. I mean, what an outrage! There's only one guy like Tyson. That's me.
Only one Tyson. Yeah, you like the one. What are we trying? Tyson Fury?
Nah.
How did Joshua lose to that Russian guy?
Anthony Joshua, I don't know. Listen, this is just my personal opinion, okay? Anthony Joshua from the very beginning and the get-go, right, was never anybody on my radar as someone that was amazing. He is robotic in his movement. Riven, I don't know if you agree with me in this.
I totally agree with you, mate. I was once like,
it's too easy to work out.
A month ago, I would have argued with you if a month ago, but since his last fight, I'm sorry. I just have to apologize to the world, mate.
But he does have power.
But he's got power. But Neil, from day dot, brother, yeah. Listen, when you're working around people that are fighters, right, and you're around fighters your whole life, yeah, what you'll start to notice is when you can work out a pattern, when the roboticism of this man, right? You got to understand, it's the same with Anthony Yard, right? Anthony Yard is someone that keeps his cards close to his chest, yeah? We don't quite know where he could go if he goes outside of his roboticism, right? I believe there's more in Anthony Yard, right? I think there's a little bit more in them, because when you've got the people out of Cotto's camp going, he's the best since Mayweather, I'm thinking maybe they've seen something extra, you know what I mean? They ain't just saying that for no reason. But when it comes from Anthony Joshua, and he's admitting he's getting put down by this, young heavyweight, is it Adebowale or whatever his name is, in training. I'm thinking that's because the angles, there's so many angles that you can catch him at because of his roboticism.
Everyone knows I'm extremely unorthodox. I'm just like my Tyson Fury mentally. I'm fucking completely unstable and crazy. And I'm gonna have a laugh, and I'm down to earth. I'm a Leo, not much difference. But the fact is, I do think, that's why a lot of people don't want to fight me because I'm unorthodox. I mean, I come in there, my hands down, like it's have a street fight, and basically I come out looking pretty still, so I can't be doing something wrong.
Yeah. Well, the thing is what you're doing is reactionary boxing. This is what people don't understand, is that you're so people flinch, and in the moment of a flinch, it's very hard to counter. So like you're countering to their flinches, meaning you're not actually throwing. So effectively, you can make this is what Mike Tyson actually did, and what people don't understand what he actually did.
Mike Tyson, aggressive counterpuncher.
Yeah, it is aggressive counterpuncher, but what was he counterpunching to? Usually their flinches, meaning he would move his shoulder down like he was going to throw a punch. They're thinking he's coming in with a left hook, but they would flinch to that to guard up to it. And then obviously their guard would drop a little bit, and then boom, he would see the opening and he would switch it up and turn his shoulder over the other way and come through a right hook instead. It's that simple. So
counterpunching.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes counterpunching
the aggression
to the block.
Procs their defenses, and what you do is when you're procking it all the time, you notice how they try to set the defenses up, and then you can work your way in from their jab and stuff like that. You know where the openings are, and then you start to dish out your big shots.
Exactly.
So people don't notice, like me being a big bomber and throwing big shots. People are like, oh, you just throw wild shots, but I hit a lot of people.
It's not true.
I've had 30 fights. I've had about 15 not first round knockouts.
Exactly, bro. And there's a reason for it as well. People can try and say that, oh, you're not really doing anything of skill, but that's complete lies. It's complete. They're not understanding the micro things that are going on there. Yeah, you're throwing big bombs, but you're throwing big bombs to reactions, right? They're reacting to what they think they're going to get. So you're effectively what I would call flinch counterpunching again. Is that they're expecting the big bomb to come, but they don't know where it's coming from. Do
they feint? It depends. Like you said, reactive, but just basically counter punching. That's what the best way to categorize it is aggressive counter punching, because as I said, the aggression procs the defense, and then defense sets up the attacks. Countering the
exactly.
The opponent.
So you're looking
for
exactly
when he goes to body head and he's switching up the combinations, also trying to get a pain reaction to get to open up shots and setting up. It's not really about the upper. It's not really about the hook to the body. It's more about the uppercut. And that's why he was very venomous. He's like getting them uppercuts really open them up when you whack people to the body. It's a very common thing. It's a natural thing when you take punishment in your body to react to it, even if you know what's coming up next. It's just a normal reaction to the body, just to make sure you pivot it over, and then you can set you up for a nice clean shot of the uppercut. And that's why Chris Eubank Jr. is so good at uppercuts as well. He's got a very similar style. People say he was just shit in that, but he's shit for like boxing and jabbing his way in. But if he's trying to primarily be an aggressive puncher, and he throws like 10 or 15 punch combinations, which is just incredible. He's still fascinating to watch, even though he's an absolute donut. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. It's fascinating to watch him throw 15 shot combinations and then manage to catch the uppercut. You know what I mean? People not understanding what he's doing to the body, softening it all up, and then eventually the hands just drop, and then it's, you know what I mean?
I can't wait for my next fight, man. It depends who I'm fighting. This is what's interesting. I mean, I can fight. That's what I said to people. I can fight anyone at all levels. Someone was saying to me the other day, "Oh, what about fucking what's his name, man? Jack and Peters, man." I was thinking, yeah, I mean, Jack and Peters is in better condition, but I still wouldn't say, oh yeah, I think Jack and Peters, because he's in good condition, he's going to beat me. Like, it's just not how I think.
What's your official best fighting weight? What's your official best fighting weight in class? What's your official
To
best
be honest,
fight?
I'm 14 stone now, and I feel really, really
Right.
strong. So I could fight at 14 stone would probably be me being optimal because I fought at 14 stone before, but I was not. All I did was like bodybuilding. I didn't do any boxing, and then I went into the ring and outboxed somebody, and I conserved my energy in the third round because I thought I was going through to the final because it was an easy 2 rounds, and they fucking robbed me. And then everybody just said it was terrible, and I stopped boxing a couple of years. I got robbed. I nearly killed someone, so I stopped for a couple of years. Then I got robbed at a show, so I stopped for a couple of years, and then obviously I got back into it because I was just wasting my life away. And then my mate's son, he's taken for knife crime, and I thought, well, I might as well just instead of sitting in the corner being a fucking a mess, and we wanted to end my own life. If I'm going to throw my life away anyway, and I had, I was at my wrist, I mean, I was on it, but I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna turn this round, at least fight for this one cause, and it seems to snowball into quite a thing.
So you're cruiserweight, basically, like
in boxing, though.
you're a cruiserweight. So for those who don't know, heavyweight junior, right? So like, I'm just trying to think of people that you could go up against at the minute. There's quite a few of them out there.
Andy Yard would be a really good fight for me. I think
it would be. That's what I was about to say. He might beat you, but like because you're unorthodox style, and if you was to maybe go in there with a bit of roboticism yourself at the beginning and just trick him into thinking that you're not that sort of like Conor McGregor.
That's too much mental gymnastics for me. I just think he's a formidable. He's lucky yet again. He's an athlete, very well conditioned. But he's conditioned for 12-round fights. He's conditioned to like really take his time and really go for his paces. And now me, it depends what format I'd have to fight him on. But I reckon power for power, I think probably he's got more stamina power, but initial power, I think I could match him. And I think I definitely could do something. I could hurt him and put him in a position and put the whole fight in my favour with just one punch. To be honest,
if you do it in the first, if you just catch him with that one very very clean body shot,
and I would because I take these guys seriously. Like when you see me fighting these guys, that guy fought that big fat fucking geezer I fought last. When I fought him, I mean, I was out drinking, I was out, was partying, and that I was doing stuff, I wasn't I shouldn't be doing for a fighter because I honestly watched him fight. I watched him fight, and I thought, he's absolutely his pants. So I got arrogant, and I could normally do. I don't have a problem with confidence. I have a problem with reining it a bit because I look at these people, and I just think, I'll fucking I'll blow them. What I'm saying? I'm just no way they can ever get anywhere near beating me with that ring. You know what I'm saying? And people say, you lost that fight. Oh, but and then there's other people come up to me and say, you just got robbed, man. Like, so it's just like, is it just me or is it the actual fact that these people are hurt? Because all I know is when I come out the ring, I'm not the one who's in pain. Like my knuckles are hurting, my shoulders are hurting from throwing big shots and walking through these people with my hands down. It doesn't matter how big or small they are or how well they're trained and how unprepared I am. And I'm unprepared for all these guys. And now I've got some good people around me. And I've got a nice little routine and that. So I think people are really.
That's why you got to knock them out, Tommy. Don't leave it to the judges.
No, it's not going to. I don't think any point of fight now is going to judge. The same as anyone. I was looking at Lawrence Oakley, and I thought, because I fought a guy called Russell Henshaw, and Russell Henshaw fought him in Sky Sports. So if Russell Henshaw can get a shot, why can't I? And when I fought Russell Henshaw, I was overweight, I was fat, and I punched him up really bad, and the lights went off, and someone turned the cameras off, and all that. So we had to stand there, and he had to recover for 1 minute, and then we had to carry on. So basically, had to fight him twice within a 3-minute round, in a 3-2 amateur round with big head guards and that. And I was just fat and out of shape because my girlfriend used to feed me some terrible food. So, I was at my worst. And then, like he gave Lawrence Oakley a good round and a half. And I think the round and a half I'd give anyone, they're going to be in trouble. Look at Deontay Wilder. I really believe now it's number 2 now. I never used to believe that Tyson Fury versus Wilder was a 1 and 2 situation. I always believed that there was always ignoring Joshua. But I do think. I do see what everyone's saying now with the boxing maneuvers, but Joshua has changed over the time. He was used to be explosive, he used to take a lot more risks. So I think some opinions can change with fighters, and it does leave me with my pants down, really, looking a bit stupid. But Joshua has changed. He doesn't take the risks that he's not the fighter that I once thought he was.
Exactly.
And he has it knocked out of him.
Deontay Wilder started very late, so it's going to take him more time. And I think he's reaching that level now.
I never rated Deontay Wilder, Neil.
Yeah,
I'm saying he has a lot of power. I never liked him. No, but I never liked him. But I found out that he started very late. I mean, really late. Oh, we got to give him a little more time.
He looks a lot younger than what he actually is as well, doesn't he? That's what, like. But this whole rubbish with Deontay Wilder saying that, the amount of weight that he was carrying, effectively is what made it to where his legs were like jello. No, sorry, I saw the punch he received that made his legs jello.
Nah, he doesn't have the boxing skills that this guy has. That's plain and simple. Because he hasn't
Tyson
trained
Fury's
long enough.
Yeah, Tyson Fury is a very I'm sorry, but he's a very unorthodox fighter.
Exactly.
He's the best in the game when it comes
No
to
doubt.
his versatility, and it's just not seen because you see the moving fat in his body, and people just attribute it to rubbish.
You said that the armor and stuff, and you heard about the hearsay, the excuses he was making about the armor. Like I do think like this is probably just a way of just him saying, him not taking responsibility, which is a way of saying like he's still not defeated, like he's undefeated in his mind. So when he talks this way, it's in inverse way. I just see that as him saying like, they said this fighting over. As far as I'm concerned, I was still in there fighting, and the man, so he's still in that fight now. Like, do you know what I mean? He's still is fighting this now moment. I think that's a bit worrying because he hasn't given up. Like, everyone's saying, oh, it's because like, well, look, it's everything else but him because you know what? He ain't stopped fighting, bro. Do you know what I mean? So when he's saying these things, we're all looking thinking he's deluded, but I think he's trying to say to everyone, I haven't lost and the fight isn't over. I've sacked my manager. Like, I'm serious, bro. I've sacked one of my trainers because that's how mad I am for him stopping that fight because he was still in there. Like, he had something in him that was ready to still land that shot, even though his head was bust up. So we've got a possessed man, like a focused man that's still in that fight, and I don't think Fury's been really that asked about it. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to smash your head in, but he's it's like this fight is just not going away. It's just it's just not going away. I'm sick of it. Like, you know what I mean? He's just lost another fucking fight with the biggest payday of his life with Joshua. Now Joshua's been fucking all that shit's gone up the wall. He's fucking pissed off, and he's got to fight this fucking dickhead in fucking America. He's like not accepting his defeat. He kind of it's all twisted. It's all twisted, man. It's all fucking twisted, man. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive twisted situation for Tyson. That's why he's not bashing Joshua because he's thinking I've lost all that fucking money, like 100 fucking million. 100 fucking million, Joshua.
That always happens, though.
Riven, how do I get hold of you in real life? Riven.
Huh?
Riven, how do I get hold of you in real life?
How would you get hold of me?
Yeah.
If you like Nice Dan Gloves Up is my Instagram at the moment. And Tommy Hench is my Instagram. Obviously, I'd have to get to know you a little bit, and I'll come meet up with you. Do you know what I mean? Get talk John there.
Well, no, it's not necessarily about a meet up as well. Well,
it's easy.
Well,
call him fat. Tell him to meet you outside the NEC.
It's all on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
I've got my YouTube channel. It's all on there. Post it all on there. If you want to repost it.
I'll meet you outside the front doors of the NEC, fatty.
I'll meet you right away. You don't get to know me or nothing. I'll call you a fat bastard that can't fight for shit. Meet me in Brooklyn.
Yeah, you got to call him out to get him there. That's what you got to do. I didn't know, Tommy. To be fair,
I think I met you once.
Hold on a second, just 1 second, crack, Roland. You filled in more than you probably should, but I don't think there's any, boxing pundits listening that are going to use this information against you. But by the same token, you've revealed that, in years gone by, your being overweight was an issue that's still, prevalent in your mind. But I'm not trying to be some sort of coach or anything, but by the same token, that's a weakness you've just let me know about. Do you know what I mean?
Which I'm quite happy because I think I'm quite open with all my weaknesses because it's still people. It entices people to give me a challenge.
Well, don't be. What's your problem?
No, because it entices them to give me a challenge. They think they got a chance.
Okay.
Look at what Tyson Fury did, mate. Look at what Tyson Fury did.
I just want to hear the bell go. I just want to hear the bell go. I want to hear ding ding, and that's it. That's all I want to hear now. You know what I mean? I don't care what they think. They can believe what I want, and I can believe what I want. All I know is I can say anything, and it don't really matter. Because when the bell goes, that's all that matters. Is who's going to land shots and who ain't.
It's got to be said. In terms of your physique, you're in the peak of physical condition as far as I can ascertain, and you know it. You can tell by the way you're acting out in public. So good for you.
I feel right. I could be better. I could do another 4 weeks, and the body's needs a good rest. I've had a few days off. It's my second day off now. So
no, you're looking fit. You're looking healthy. You're looking like you can kick some ass. So keep. Maybe you need to poke the bear, like Anthony Riley or Sleeping Warrior says. And it sounds like you are anyway. But just keep poking. Poke. You'll get a bear. I assure you.
Right, I've got this guy called Hot Boy Trizzy. I made a video about him today, and I put it on TikTok, and I was talking about how he looks like a sausage. And he asked to fight me before. He said he wants me to come down to his gym, and if he doesn't respond to me and go on live with me, then I'm going to go down to his gym and then say hello to him, because he keeps talking. He kept asking me to come down, come down, come down. I told him, don't worry about me, you're not fighting me. But now that fight that he's having, it's not happening. But far as I'm concerned, he was getting ready to fight him, and I'm getting ready to fight anyone. So why don't we just fight? You know what I mean? Get that fight out of the way. And he's gone really quiet. So there's a bit of that going about that, a bit of propaganda
Well,
right now.
that does speak volumes.
That picks up all
you gotta read between the lines when these things happen, because it's just I can understand your frustration with it because you just want to get on with it, right? And I get that. But by the same token, read between the lines of what's happening. You look mean, and people don't want to fight you, and that speaks volumes. Just smile about it.
Say that.
I know, yeah, it is true. It is true, though. It is, and it is a good feeling, to be honest. But yeah, how can if I surf off it, yeah, then people go, look at him, he thinks he's this, that, and that fucking prick. And if I don't jump on it, people are like, what are you doing? But I'm quite humble at the same time, deep down, just I'm chilling right now. I'm just glad that my body's had a rest. I'm glad that my mind's having a rest, and I'm just like, if I never done that and had a little rest now, I drove my body into the ground, and I just got to focus on what I'm doing. And I'm pretty sure that if I keep, doesn't matter, I'll fight anyone now. It's got to the point now. Even I have to ask one of my best pals who Ginge in for Shardend, and he said if we did, I'd just have a little boxing, like an exhibition. I wouldn't hurt him because he's my friend. Do you know what I mean? But if whatever we have to do to get the show on the road, I'm looking to do it because I just want to get someone even in the grass now, and probably just have a little spar with somebody and just put a bit of entertainment there, show a bit of finesse, show a bit of boxing.
Nathan's got a point. Hold on, Nathan's got a point, Tommy.
Stop messaging me.
I'm listening to. Hold on, I'm listening to this YouTube guy, Sammy the Bull Gravano, and you know how he performed one of his greatest hits? He went into this place like he was a wimp, a nobody, a punk, a chump. That's how he was able to get close to this guy. And it wasn't until he had the guy tied up and in the van that the guy looked at him and said, a punk, huh? A chump. You have accomplished what 5 families couldn't accomplish, and a family in Philadelphia. You're looking too mean, Tommy. Gotta look a little less mean. Bring him in. Lure him in.
Yeah.
That's
what
what he said he's doing.
Man.
Hold on, that's what he said he's doing. So I criticised him. I'm like, you're showing weakness, and he's basically hinted at it and gone, yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. Look at what Tyson Fury did, dude. Tyson Fury showed his whole comeback story, bro, right? And he did so in order that he could get that back there quickly, almost to the top, knowing his own hands. He knew what he had in them hands, brother, right? Yeah. And similar techniques have been used in the vernacular of MMA, right? So the point is the coaches, right, and the people that are coaching the person, they've worked with the best of the best. They know what they're capable of. They ain't going to put them somewhere if they think there's no chance, right? So like with Tyson Fury, they knew there was a chance that he could go bang straight to the top again, yeah? But because obviously he showed everything about his psychology, how it was a massive beer lout and all this sort of stuff, and he was like, he was all over the place. People thought they were going to knock him down easy, right? So people accepted all the fights, but really he was a machine to be, and he was a force to be reckoned with, right? So like again, it just might be about cataloging that a little bit better, Tommy. You know what I mean, brother? Like like whatever it was in the past for you, again, and just
number one, back off your mic a little bit. You keep popping your mic with plosives because you're getting too excited and getting close to your mic, which is fair enough. Also, don't call him brother. Only we can use that word.
But I'm just I was just saying that people always say that I can see so much more talent in you. You could do so much better, and why don't you're worth? I mean, I do know my worth, but I'm only one man. Like, I can only do so much, and that's being myself so far. And if anyone else around me can, also do what they think is get that worth presented out there, then by all means do it. Just do something for us. I mean, I'm trying to do all I can do is be myself right now, because even that's a difficult thing to hold together right now. I'm an absolute wrecking ball.
You considered, like I said, you considered wrestling? Then you can join a tag team, and it won't just be one man anymore.
Well, that's what I mean. But the people around me, or people that can see something, then put us out there, get us on platforms, get people to get eyes on us, get the right people talking about us to make something happen. You know what I mean? Because everyone's got people they know and stuff they can do. I'm at everyone's disposal. I'm a free agent. I'm looking to fight anyone anywhere. We're not only obviously just in boxing gloves, and obviously that's what I represent. Nice down gloves up. I'd like to get paid well. I'd like to, you know, I'd like to put on a good show, big show, and obviously I can do anything. I can do, as you can see, I can come out rapping to my fight. So I do live performances before my fights.
I mean,
you know,
if it helps, I can volunteer Arwin to go in the ring with you if you want.
No, but I've noticed
I'm here.
the light is coming out of the UK.
The Arwin's here. You here, Arwin? Yeah.
UK, so
I just got back.
Yeah. So you're all good for this, yeah?
Sure. What are we doing?
You're getting in the ring with Tommy.
Oh, right, Tommy.
Yeah. If I could choose anyone I would want to fight, in these communities, it would probably be you know that fucking when he goes, I have to.
Careful, are we still recording? Careful. Watch what you say. Watch your next words. Careful.
Wait. Yeah, don't.
No,
Just think before you speak. We're still recording.
Never blabber.
I don't care. I just
we care.
Because he went to me. What's 2 times after the point? Fucking, I think the only guy.
Let's argue this.
Look, he's had time.
Let's argue this. It doesn't matter if you care. Don't blabber.
No, it's okay. He's had 2 seconds to think about it. You can say what he likes now.
Yeah, like I said, what was I saying? Yeah, if I could box anybody,
he wants to smack the shit out of.
It would be like Gem Panda, and it'd be out of that fucking fight the flat Earth guy. There were the 2 guys. I'd be like, I'd like to fight this person, please, just to beat them up in a boxing match.
In a boxing match. You wouldn't lay a hit on me. I'd make you laugh so much that you just relax all your muscles.
I've already used up on Owen. Just one of that Owen. He's only just got back. I've used up all of those jokes already, I'm afraid. So they may not land, just so you know.
I'm just wondering if you were to fight Gem Panda, that wouldn't be fair because you're not allowed to hit below the belt. Would he be able to reach above yours, Tommy?
That's where his head is, right?
Okay, no need. Right, we're in an intellectual battle with these people. So
there is a need.
No, there's not. Look, there isn't a person I could name that Tommy wouldn't be able to take out in his current condition. So I don't think this is reasonable. Let's just not do it. Not comparative.
How about Neil?
Look, you're in an intellectual battle with them.
Gem always are. Me and Gem are always okay, we're always fighting me and Gem, so that's just why that. But that flight, he was like really like 2 times plus the alpha square 1. Haha, I'm smarter than you. It's so stupid. Like I thought this guy needs sense. Not getting into him. He's that retarded. Wow. So you know, to say 2 times the alpha. Yeah, that's what it means. And then sit there like he's like won some sort of battle. And I look at him, I'm like, this guy is absolutely a weasel. You know what I mean? Like. And why we in a society where weasels like that get to sit there and just talk absolute bollocks and like everyone applauds it and laps it up? It's incredible that we live in a society where this is acceptable.
That is our society.
That's our society. Oh man.
I mean, I'm glad you brought the subject back onto our intellectual opponents, but you know, comparatively speaking, just to draw close to that. And I don't know why I sensed that you were going to be discussing people in this discussion that you wanted to fight with, because you didn't actually say that, but I sensed that's where you were going, and you did anyway. Yeah. But there we go.
No. We got nothing personal. I mean, I could have a drink with Jem, and we always, like I said, we're always arguing. Just like out of a joke, of anyone that would like I'd like to take. It wouldn't be like Simon Dan or Cats or yourself that's been screaming at us in the past. It's not like all kinds of arrays like screaming at us in the past. No one has been horrible to us. Just out of banter wise and out of spite. You know, Jem, because we always having such an intellectual battle back and forth, and obviously what's that guy? Yeah, that guy, because he's such a fucking weasel, and just because he was so pathetic, I felt vomit. Like he was like 2 times squared the alpha, and I thought, what the hell am I? What?
Okay, again, what you're saying is that has left you in mental pain to a certain extent, and you're describing that mental pain, and in that respect, that is interesting to me, because what it says is we collectively just drew parallels in terms of who you'd want to get in the ring with. And it's not comparable. You're talking about a physical battle that you're going to have with them when clearly you would win that. But in the intellectual battle, you've been left thwarted in that regard. If you're walking away from the arena in whatever respect that is, going, the guy's a weasel. In other words, it's troubling for whatever reason. Win, lose or draw. I'm not saying that you lost one or whatever, or his point was good, or you shouldn't. You know, if you're walking away from these things with frustration, then that's the position they're in, as far as I can tell. They're the ones with the mental frustration that they have to go through, and the only relief from that is the pain being projected onto their opponent. So for a time, your pain is relieving their pain, because in his dancing around because he's offered you up some maths that you didn't understand, that makes him feel like he's got to win, and it will relieve his cognitive pain temporarily. The main difference is that, as far as I can tell, on our side, they can project that pain onto us, and it might affect us temporarily. But for the most part, it fades pretty quickly. And the more it happens to you, the quicker it dissipates. It's like if you're a beekeeper, the more you get stung, the less it kind of even bothers you, to the point where you stop even flinching when you get stung. Well, the same is true here. The pain that they project onto me has dissipated now to the point where it's water off a duck's back. It never affects me.
Yeah.
Well, if it's affecting you, that's something that you need to assess, because it shouldn't. You're on the winning side. There's nothing to be concerned about in that regard.
Or if I'd never ever attack someone over this debate. It's just literally like a joke and in jest. It's said in jest. It's like I'd never, like I said, I'd sit down.
No, I'm not suggesting that you would. I'm just saying that let's flip it the other way.
So it's not that.
Where I say it's a temporary sting for us, like a jab, metaphorically. Well,
I know what you're getting at.
Well, for them, it's permanent.
I'm saying for me, it's not that serious, though.
No, I'm trying to flip it away from you, actually, onto them, and say that for them, it's not a jab. It's getting in the ring with a couple.
The energy projects to me, is that how they're dealing with it? Totally get what you're saying. Cause like
but I'm now trying to flip it away from that and say that from their position, it's not like it's a sting that comes and you get used to, and then eventually it doesn't even really bother you anymore. Their pain is permanent, because they're not on the winning side of the argument. You want to describe Wiggles going round back to the beginning of his argument when he's had it defeated? That's because cognitively they can't cope with it. They have to go round in those cycles, and they're painful. And they're permanent for them. Once they're here, that's it. They've got that permanently. And like I say, the only way they can relieve themselves of it is to project it onto you. So their permanent pain, which they are in, these people you just described, either Craig or Jem, well, Jeremy's pain is constant. He only occasionally alleviates it by projecting it onto people like yourself.
It's incredible. It is incredible. I mean, one of the things that does reinforce me to never go back to Globe is because when you start asking Globers actual questions like, do they even doubt they went to the moon? No, I know we went to the moon. Or do you even doubt that things ain't what they say it is? No, I know it is the way it is. It's just like, I just don't know how they can have that much confidence in something that I don't share. I don't see what they see, and I don't understand what I'm saying. So until they can understand both sides of the argument, as far as I'm concerned, I think, for example, I find more flat earthers that can understand both sides of the argument, and I can find only so many Globers that only understand one side, and that's theirs. So that's the weaker side in my opinion.
Yeah, like Wiggles.
People that have
chant their way through the same exact claim and not even let the rebuttal process. So then they don't understand, appreciate, or digest the rebuttal. They just reassert their claim, because how could it be wrong? So they never open themselves up to the response, and therefore they don't understand it. Most of the time, with the Black Swan, when you see the carte blanche refraction rebuttal, that demonstrates without doubt that they don't understand the argument.
Yep. And then they always use that against you. Like they say, like, monkeys and chimpanzees, they show common sense. They're not monkeys don't come from like apes, don't come from monkeys or something. Because they always try to use that little bit of semantics to try and like undermine the people that are trying to like speak something against the main narrative, and they don't like that. So they just pick on little fucking semantical games. They're trying to say that we don't understand things, when actually what we're doing, we're trying to break it down simpler so you can understand. And that's what a lot of flat earthers are doing. They're trying to make it simpler. When they say like, a fish turns into a monkey, we don't mean literally a fish turning into a monkey. We're just trying to make it basic for you to understand that what you're saying is over billions and billions of years this is possible. And then when we try to shorten it and put it into a small context, you say it's absurd, but it's your own argument that you're saying it's absurd, and then you claim that these people that disagree with evolution are going crazy and they don't understand. When you're literally the person who's not getting it, the deeper meaning. What's being said. Actually, if you actually understand it, like if you understand the linguistics, then you realise actually that the Globers are wrong.
Yeah, but it's hard for them because they're having to overcome arguments that are irrefutable. The obstacles that they face, they try and overcome and often defeat their own arguments in doing so. Now, us highlighting that to them is going to be painful. Them doing it in the first instance takes effort and is also painful. So it's just a non-stop stream of cognitive pain for somebody who gets here. And earlier in the live show, I'm saying, well, do I necessarily want to subject the person I meet on the street or a loved one to that? Not necessarily. This is actually what we discussed with 10th Man in the pre-show. Well, why? Well, because some people who are walking around on top of that hill, blissfully unaware that they're in the Matrix, they don't necessarily need pushing down the hill. Now, can they cope? Maybe. Do they need to? Well, not necessarily. Are they going to suddenly be a freedom fighter to release other people from the Matrix? Probably not. Will they have a 50-50 chance of becoming an anti-flat earther? Yeah. Does that mean that they might hate you at the end of that process? Yeah. So, what's in it for you? You've got to ask yourself. And chances are very little.
That's very true. You know what I mean? So they can't even accuse you. Sorry. I was talking to my own echo. Yeah, they can't even accuse you of doing this for like profit then either, because really, you know, there is no reward for it. But you know, I personally think all the people that donated to you and all the people that have helped you over the years and helped you, you know, keep you know, be able to justify this so you can continue the consistency you put up. I think it needs to be saluted. And yeah, all I ever hear is negative being spread about. Yeah, but yeah, everybody's benefiting from clipping your videos. Oh, look, Nathan Oakley did something wrong. Oh, Nathan Oakley done this, Nathan Oakley done that. Oh, Nathan's so horrible. But yeah, you've basically earned all them people, all the money, everything by using your content, by having arguing with you, by engaging with you, and then they refuse to come with me and put eyes onto your show. It's just like it's just like what's wrong with you having a big show? What's wrong with you having a big platform? What's with everybody agreeing with you? Why is you have to be all censored and put down, and all these people get to earn off the back of you for saying it?
I don't know who's saying that.
You know?
I mean, if it's anti-flat earthers, they've got a much higher degree of or chances of success for an anti-flat earther currently are very, very high. You've got to put out a few videos that go against flat earth and you'll be promoted with every single flat earth search that anybody ever does on YouTube ever. So you're taking up a chunk of people that are looking for flat earth. Now, when you think about it in that context, if they've just taken over the search engine results, i.e. anti-flat earth is what comes up if you type in flat earth, that means that there's plenty of people actually still searching for that terminology, but they're just being presented with anti-flat earth rhetoric. But there's a reason behind having to have that little stopgap between us and them, and that would be because of an increased flow of information that people are acquiring or trying to acquire via that search engine. So, statistically, if you want to actually have success, and the people that you're talking about are anti-flat earthers moaning about people, making this into my living, it's like, it's YouTube. That's what every single person on here wants to achieve if they're taking it seriously. I am no different to anybody else on YouTube. It's like, because I'm in a flat earth arena, suddenly that makes it evil? No, I'm just a YouTuber. Who cares how I have donations come towards me? It makes absolutely no difference to any other YouTuber. They're all doing the same exact thing, if they're trying to make a living from it, which I absolutely am. But in terms of the information, well, the information is going to be hated by the people who want to retain their globe faith. Because if it was the case that their globe faith was just carte blanche true, i.e. we were actually on a globe, then there'd be no need to hate me. They'd laugh at me. Now they pretend to laugh at me, but really they hate me. Well, I find that quite amusing. Because what have I done? Have I flattened out their world? No, I've just presented it.
You are like Mr. Anderson. You are like Mr. Anderson. The Matrix said, yeah, Mr. Anderson.
No, you just refuse to play that little game.
You're like the most
not just amusing, Nathan. It's actually quite empowering in terms of motivationally. Like you say, you're never going to go out there and make a million because you know the odds are stacked against you. But when you do see these people that dedicate so much of their life to not any cause like we have individually, yeah, but to just oppose our cause, that says so much to me in terms of the validity of where I'm heading. Yeah, I don't know where that is, but it scares other people so much that they'll dedicate their life to opposing what I'm thinking and discovering, as opposed to investing anything in their own lives and discovery. Yeah, their function is, as we describe it, is to be an anti-flat earther.
With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. This is of particular interest if you drive an electric vehicle. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!